Boy, you know what time it is.
Welcome to the Bromigos podcast.
I need it!
Hey, how are you?
This is amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we back for another episode of the Bromigos podcast. You already know it's your boy Dank Money. What's good? Oh, Matt, you're just not gonna talk. See this? This is the problem. This is the
white people.
problem.
Fucking white people. I get it. All right.
No, don't play this on the fucking race. It's you. You're too dumb. You're like I said earlier.
Whoa, John. Fuck you.
Come
Listen,
on.
at least I'm not. Listen.
Let's go. Move it. Jesus Christ, you're
What up?
embarrassed.
It's your boy Panama Red. What's happening?
And it's the
Oh,
undercover brother, John. If you get any more riled up, you're gonna have a fucking heart attack, my boy.
I'm
Calm down.
fine. My name's John Jamingo. I'm from the Boomer Bunker podcast. I come over here to straighten some shit out.
Oh yeah. Well, why don't we just set the scene of why we're all here today? Apparently, we're all a part of, or at least most of us are now a part of a group chat. And John took some issue with a video we posted earlier in the week or last week, and he's been very vocal to us, sending us fan mail on the show. He doesn't like some of the things we say about Trump. So, John, in that very massive argument we had in the group chat, I decided, John, let's have you on the show and let's, in your words, straighten some shit out. So throughout the course of this episode, I'm going to be asking a bunch of questions in regards to politics in America, Trump, Kamala, all that bullshit. I'll be the one mediating. I don't have a fucking opinion on anything. I'm keeping it that way. But
real dumb. Okay.
pussy.
that's my job.
Yeah, that's some bitch shit.
All right. So I have a question.
I'll interject every now and
All right,
again.
let me, now you're talking over me. I have a question. Let me start with this. What problem do you have with Trump? I would love to know what the issue was. The low prices, the low inflation, the staying out of people's
So
way.
are we're crediting that to Trump? Are we really we're doing this?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
See,
in 2016.
this is we can't.
Okay, come on.
Gentlemen, before we continue, let's try and keep it calm. Okay.
Okay, I'm calm.
I think we're a bunch of respectful men here. Okay.
Are we?
Matt. You know what? Panama. Let's give it a go, bro. Give it a go. I want you to go first.
I didn't want to have to do
Sorry
this.
for our country.
So my issue with Trump, my Trump is, first off, what has he actually accomplished that he set out to do? What is I don't understand the people get hard-ons, like real hard-ons for Trump, but he's accomplished absolutely nothing. So what he did, that's basically the remnants of Obama. What are we talking about? Obama handed him like, here you go, buddy, a beautiful economy, right? So let's fast forward to December of 2019, right? When we started hearing whispers of COVID, okay? Because I don't want to attribute everything that happened during COVID. It's not Trump's fault, because a lot of that was going to happen because of COVID, right? However, he could have taken steps and put measures in place so that America didn't turn into a complete shit show. But no, what did he decide to do? He came out and called it a hoax, called it a lie, called it a hoax. By the time he came around and was ready to do anything, we were already caught with our pants down. He didn't do shit. Trump said he's going to build.
I'll be honest with you. The issue with COVID is all has to do with Fauci and the nonsense that went on there. And again, if we're going to talk about COVID, the best thing would have been to do nothing, like what they did over in Sweden. They did nothing. They just, they protected the old, and they let the young people go out, get it, and then get natural immunity. And their death rate was about the same as ours was.
Yeah, but the Swedes are also far more intelligent than the Americans are. Swedes don't sit there and be like, oh, that's a lie. Oh, like, listen, I'm not saying that everything Fauci claimed was perfect, right? Because clearly he fucked up.
So you're saying if you're smarter, you don't get COVID at the same rate dumb people do?
No, that's that. Come on, man. That's not what I'm implying. That's not what I'm implying at all. What I'm saying is, if you go to Sweden and the government comes and tells the Swedes, hey, this is happening, we need to do this to avoid this problem, the Swedes are going to be like, okay, we're going to do that. Sweet, you can't. Scandinavia in general is far better off than the United States is. I can tell you that much, right? So whatever. So not only did he not do anything, right? But then we're caught with our pants down. He's trying to play catch up, but then we're gonna, oh, it's the China virus. Like saying all this unnecessary shit.
No,
Like, bro, who cares?
it came
Like,
from China.
really?
Came from China.
Don, who the fuck cares where it originated? The problem
Well,
is,
I mean, that's how we've identified viruses since we started identifying viruses.
okay, fine, cool. I hear that. We identified the virus. So what is proclaiming it the China virus going to do but nothing than appease to your fucking base, which a lot of them MAGA dumbasses are equally as retarded. Like,
Okay, so
and
we're gonna
racist.
So, all right. I guess I'm dumb because I don't give a shit what you call the virus. You can call it the China virus. You can call it COVID-19. You can call it what it used to be called. Before that, it was the Mediterranean Middle Eastern. I don't know. It had to do with they had COVID before. They knew how to treat it. Then all of a sudden they forgot. Okay, but so I understand what you're saying about this. They decided to they said they were going to shut it down. The whole economy going to shut it down for 2 weeks. Once they shut it down, then states like New York, New Jersey, basically California and all, they would not open it back up again. Once they locked shit down, the people in the Democrat-run states like New Jersey, you know that, they would not allow it to be open again. And so that's what happened. Once they got once they got the power, they didn't do anything to change. States like Florida, North Dakota or South Dakota, and other states, Texas, they opened up again and it wasn't as bad. So I know you're going to try to blame all this on Trump. What Trump did was he allowed the states to do what the states did, especially after the George Floyd thing happened and the riots started. He didn't send a National Guard in there. He let the states take care of it. Some did, some didn't. So, I mean, basically he was, what he did was he followed the Constitution. Mm-hmm. He also, they went in the Middle East. He had the Abrams Accords where countries were signing peace agreements with Israel. And so, I mean, we had all that going on. And then we had COVID. And then everybody lost their mind. And then we had Joe Biden happen. Now, what did he do that actually made this country better in the past 3.5 years?
You're not, this is, oh, is this a serious question?
I'm just saying, would you rather go back to 2017 or what we have right now?
See, of course the answer would be 2017, but 2017 wasn't the way it was because of Trump. That's my thing. It wasn't, you could have put any figurehead in there, and at that time the economy would have been what it was. It didn't matter.
We were coming out of a pandemic. Everything was ready to go. All Biden had to do was sit on his hands and do nothing, and the economy would have came roaring back. But he didn't. He spent more money than God's ever printed.
That's not true.
What do you mean it's not true?
Trump spent a lot more money than the Biden has.
Once we shut the country down, we shut business down. Of course, we had to spend money.
Semantics. We're talking about spending.
Once we opened everything up again, we didn't need what was the thing that the bill that they signed, the Inflation Reduction Act, which did nothing but create more inflation. Come on, guys.
Wait a second. Okay.
Let Dante speak. I haven't heard him speak.
I haven't said anything yet. Now, as you know, I'm not the most political person in the world. And the reason why I'm not is because I think now politics have just become so heavily driven by narratives on both sides that it's very hard for anybody in either party, in my opinion, to fully support a leader on either side. Now, that's how I feel. But if we want to talk about facts, let's understand how economies work and how they trickle down to the next president. We could go all the way back to before the Great Depression, during the Roaring 20s. Who do we have as the president? Herbert Hoover, right? Hoover literally put us in the worst economic situation that America had ever seen at that time. And FDR, for 4 straight terms, had to revamp that economy with the New Deal in order to bring America back to where it was beforehand. right? Now, let's look at Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton took an economy that was completely in the hole in the beginning of the 90s because of George H.W. Bush and got more black people jobs than any other president ever, even more than Obama. And this ain't no hate to Obama. I love Obama. That's my nigga. Now, if you want to talk about Obama's economy, what did Obama get us out of? The Great Recession, the worst economic situation that we had been in the 21st century. That wasn't Obama's fault. That was George Bush's fault. And we all know what George Bush did during his administration. He was terrible. And for some reason, we voted for him twice, even though that second election, we don't know about that one. But
Right.
that then, Obama's economy carries over into Donald Trump's presidency. So what does Donald Trump do? He changes everything.
Okay.
Everything. And as we all know, economies do not change with the legislation with the president that's currently in office. It always trickles to the next president. That's how it's always been.
I don't know who you're.
John. Can you hold that thought for 1 second? I just want to interject really quick. The one thing I noticed as Dante was speaking, and I'm not trying to throw shade at any political party or not, but in the sense where every single instance where a president took us out of a political recession, it was because of a Republican president. And I even had to look up what Herbert Hoover was, because honestly, I don't know much about Herbert Hoover, to know. So
we named the first vacuum cleaner after Hoover because he sucked.
I'm just trying to point out a trend that I noticed, and that's all I have to say. I'm not saying that one side's better than the other. It's just mumbling over there for a second. Right. Oh wait, John, I'm speaking, for Christ's sake.
No, you're not. You're mumbling. Get to the fucking point.
Well, if you let me fucking talk, I'd be able to finish my sentence, for Christ's sake, instead of you fucking being all up my ass like a fucking curmudgeon.
You ain't said shit. Get to the point.
I've been trying to get to the fucking point, but you keep
the point is Republicans have always screwed up the fucking economy, and we still some idiotic reason vote them into office. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I wouldn't even go that. I wouldn't go that far.
As soon as I'm allowed to talk,
bro. Tell me I'm wrong. Every single time they get, you can look it up. Go look it up.
I don't have to look it up. I was there. I don't know who your history teachers were, but you should go over there and punch them in the face. Here's the deal. When Clinton was, before you guys were alive, and Clinton was here, I was alive. Okay. What were you, 2, 3? How old were you?
I was probably like 12.
Okay. So you're 12 years old. Clinton came in and they signed the bill, what was it called? NAFTA, where they started sending all these jobs out of the country. And at the time, we said, look at this. What's going to happen here in this country is we're all going to be working for $7 an hour. And since that started, wages have come down and down and down. I mean, of course, money, when I was back in 77 and 78 and stuff, the dollar was worth probably about 50 cents, what it was in the 60s. Now it's worth about 20. All right. So that's what our issue is right now. We've spent more money than God's ever created. And we have to, right now, the government's so big, we work for them than the other way around. We need a smaller government. Who's going to make the government smaller out of the two people that are running for election right now?
Neither of them. Listen. If he was, this is why I asked you, what has he done to make you feel so like, oh, Donald Trump? He has. He's accomplished. He's made so many promises and has come through. I'm sorry. I don't care about Israel and what's going on with Israel. I don't care. I do give a rat's. I do not. What bothers me is that we keep sending them billions of dollars. What bothers me is sending. I was just about to say that bothers me. But the fact that he made some peace treaty, I don't give a fuck. To be quite honest with you, Israel shouldn't even be where the fuck they are right now anyway. Let's be real about it. Let's be real. I have no problem with the Jewish community. I have a problem with Netanyahu and that government specifically and what they're doing. I'm not going to get into it because my opinion is my own on that remark. But I'm tired of sending billions of dollars when you could use the same billions that we're sending overseas. You could stop hunger in the United States. Literally.
I agree with you there. We're on the same page there. The problem is we just had a huge giant hurricane here. All right. We've sent all kinds of billions of dollars to Ukraine, Israel, Hamas, or the Gaza to Gaza. We've sent all this money over to this right now, and these people are dying up there, and they get $750. And right now, the administration's in there that right now said they don't have money in FEMA anymore because they took all the money they had for FEMA and you started using that to bring in people that have come to this country illegally, and they're putting them up, giving them money, hotels, all phones, all this stuff, and now they don't have money for Americans, and that's who you're going to vote for that again.
So here we go.
Can I ask a quick question? Because you mentioned the hurricane, and the hurricane to me it's insane because in southern states, specifically in Florida, there were southern representatives from the Republican Party that voted against FEMA funding for hurricane survivors in our own country. Yet this is a party that claims to care so much about the American people. Now, I don't want to get too crazy into it, but that doesn't seem like a proper representation of a party that wants to support its people. How could you vote against a bill that's there to help thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who are affected by a hurricane that, let's be completely honest, the southern states really aren't prepared for that kind of stuff. So they needed that funding. Yes, thankfully they got it. But the fact that there are Republican representatives that voted against it, this is for safety precautions. This is to make sure these people can rebuild their lives, have food, have shelter. And
Okay, got it.
voted against it.
Okay, that's fine.
On the flip side of that, though.
Hang on, now I'm talking.
I'd like to speak for once too, John. You've done a lot of that.
Matt, let him respond.
So the problem is when they have these bills, there's a lot of shit that goes in there that has nothing to do with FEMA. And so what they do is they say, hey, you know what? Let's take this out of here. Look, the government's broken. I'm not even going to say that it does, but we need somebody in there to fix it. I believe right now with the people that are going in there now, you've got Robert F. Kennedy Jr., you've got Vivek Ramaswamy, you've got Elon Musk, you've got Trump, you've got J.D. Vance. I do believe that they have a shot at trying to change this thing and turn this thing around. The amount of money that the government spends on the Department of Education and all this other stuff, which double
really doesn't work.
Doesn't work. I mean, the more money we spend, the dumber the kids get. I'll show you, Matt.
Well,
so
fuck you first of all. Well, fuck you first.
All right, so I'll let you talk now. But a lot of times, there's a lot of stuff in these bills, and the first thing the press does is they go, oh well, they voted this down. Well, they don't tell you why they voted it down.
No, and that is a recurring problem within politics. But my question to you is, why is that excuse acceptable when it's against the Republicans, but whenever it's against Democrats, we want to point and see they're the problem. It's not acceptable at all,
no.
Right? But this is a reoccurring thing. See, I try to engage because I'm more, what's the word, central.
You're more of a independent.
Yeah. I don't lean either way right now. To be quite honest with you, I don't find either. It's the same as when Hillary was up. I don't find either. In the past 3 elections, neither candidate to me speaks to me. Neither of them are. I can get behind that because, frankly, it's not only Donald Trump's. First of all, he can't even put 3 sentences together anymore. But we're criticizing Joe Biden. Okay, fine. And then he's done. I'm sorry. He's done absolutely nothing but cause more division, more problems.
He has, or has the establishment, deep state?
Him.
I think he hasn't done a good job.
When you can't stand up on your own 2 feet and condemn racism, condemn the problems. They're terrible people on both sides.
When does that happen?
Hold on. Because I'm about to stand in my soapbox real quick. Because
go ahead.
This angers me a little bit. How so many people who support Donald Trump love to just forget the fact that he is a racist motherfucker. Straight up. He has never, ever, 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 ever not shown how racist he is. We could go
give
back
me
to
examples, please.
give an example.
Yeah.
Give an example.
Did he not want to rent to black people in the 80s? Didn't he not want black people
70s.
working for him? Okay, see, I might have got my time wrong, but the fact doesn't remain. He has this. What is it? Central Park 5.
Central Park. Yeah, thank you.
Is a little tricky, right? In my opinion, I still don't think you were outspoken on an issue where you know nothing about. You had no facts, but you showed your colors on that, right? You had no facts. There was nothing factual to prove that those young men had did what they were being accused of. But Donald Trump is taking out a fucking ad and calling for their heads. Why?
And let's go into the George Floyd situation. When he was asked about the situation, what did he say? He said, "Oh, there's great people on both sides."
That's not what he said. This is the problem. That's not what he said.
That is what he said. Don't listen. Don't fucking bullshit me over what Donald Trump said about George Floyd. He was handled the situation correctly. No. I'm talking now. What I don't understand is how you can
It had nothing to do with George Floyd.
Completely avoid.
It didn't have to do with George Floyd.
Anything that condemned the race.
No. Hold on. Time out.
Guys, come the fuck
real quick. This is where I will give him. The fact remains that, but it wasn't because of George Floyd. I believe it was the Charlottesville thing.
Yes,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry,
does that make
those
the
motherfuckers
situation any better.
Those motherfuckers were not fine people, John.
A situation that involves racism in our country, he always likes to create another narrative as if it's not that bad. Because you ask Donald Trump, the public murder of George Floyd really wasn't that bad of a situation. It was
it a public murder, or did he die of an overdose of fentanyl because he tried to
swallow? Motherfucker. Are you fucking serious?
He had enough fucking fentanyl to kill a fucking horse.
You here calling on his chest, that's what it was. That shit like that? Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Hold on.
Look at that fucking autopsy report.
Oh, yeah, so a knee on a person's neck doesn't kill him, but an overdose, he was alive before shit even happened, doesn't matter, right?
He was on his head.
Relax, both of you.
Hey, gentlemen, first of all, yelling doesn't make you right, okay? So chill the fuck out. Okay?
I didn't even want to get this irate. I didn't even want to get
You don't need to get this irate, man. You don't need to get this irate. John, the fact for me, you can't tell me. So let's go off of your hypotheticals, right? Let's go say he had so much fentanyl to kill in his system that could kill a horse. You don't think that may have been triggered by the fact that he was handled the way he was?
I think the fact was he got caught passing a counterfeit $20 bill.
But that's not what I asked you, though.
Hang on. And then he resisted arrest. And then they cuffed him and tried to put him out in the car. And he fought everybody off and got out of the car. Did you watch the documentary?
I did.
Okay.
But here's my question to you.
Am I wrong in saying what I just said?
Because people are always so quick to want to point out resisting arrest. If some officer comes up to you, and let's say you seem like a law-abiding citizen, right? Let's say you were going a little fast, whatever, little fast, 10 over the speed limit. Cop comes on to you. He's going through an ego trip. He feels like he wants to pull you out of your car. By your character and what you're displaying now, I know you're going to have a problem with that. You're going to be like, bro, give me my ticket and let me go. I can tell you'd probably say that verbatim. Fine. Cop doesn't. He wants to pull you out of your car. You're not going to resist arrest. You're just going to get out and do whatever he says.
No, I am not. I'm going to get this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get arrested. I'm going to the police station. I'm getting representation, and I'm getting out.
So you're
not. I like the fact that you said that. I like the fact that you said, and I say that for this very reason. Now, you notice how you said, I'm going to get arrested, I'm going to go to the police, and I'm going to handle the situation.
But that's not okay.
No, wait, hold on. No. Let me get to my point. Now, let's switch that situation. And say it was a black person. They get pulled over for the same exact thing. Say he was going 10 over the speed limit.
Okay.
The police is on an ego trip.
Right.
Starts to get a little crazy.
Yes.
They decide to arrest this black man. Right.
Okay.
Do you think that if that black man went by the same procedure that you just stated, that the same outcome would occur?
Absolutely.
Not. You forgot not. You forgot the not.
Absolutely.
If
they comply, put their hands behind their back, get cuffed, get into place, have the right to remain silent, keep their mouth shut, go in there, get get go through the
John,
thing.
do you think the law works the same in our country for African Americans and Caucasians? You
Yes,
think it does? You think
I
so?
do.
John, you too old to be this naive, my guy.
No, I'm not.
Let's be no. Come
Let's
on.
talk about all the people, and I'm going to go with both. So you have that guy, George Floyd. They got he was what happened to him. Then you have another person where the lady was trying to get him out of the car and handcuff. He resisted arrest. He got in the car. She pulled out what she thought was her taser. She pulled out her gun and shot him and killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Again, resisting arrest.
So here's my thing, right? So I don't know if you're a vet or not. No. I'm not trying to use that. I just want to prove a point.
Okay.
It seems that we have more rules for engaging terrorists overseas in war zones than we have when we're engaging our own citizens, right? I'm sorry. There can never be an excuse. If you feel that threatened, if you feel that your life is in such danger, don't do the profession, bro. Because the profession requires you to be that professional. It requires you to have nerves. Yes, you want to come home. You think our men and women that serve our country don't want to come home? We have rules of engagement for them. We have to shoot.
They have rules of engagement too.
What?
Police have rules of engagement too.
Of course they do, but it seems to be the rule is pull out your weapon. That's what it seems to be. I've watched like, listen, I've never had a poor experience with a police officer. So it's
why is that?
I'm not. Why? Because I stay out of trouble. I stay out of trouble.
But have you ever been pulled over?
Yes.
And how did you handle that? How did you handle your situation with the police?
I was guilty, nigga. I was speeding. Of course, I deserve that shit. There's nothing for don't get me wrong. If I had ever been pulled over for something if I had committed no crime, I would be upset. Okay, that's different. All right then. So, but if I'm getting pulled over, yeah, but here's the thing. If you're pulling me over for no goddamn reason, I fucking want to know why. I'm not going to just sit there and take it.
Let's give an example. Now, I've talked about this on the show. I have had situations where I have been pulled over by the cops wrongfully, and the situation most definitely could have escalated if I had not handled myself in the way that I did. And let me explain why. Now, you remember when I told you the story how the police officer said I was tailgating him last year?
The one he was taking up the whole entire road?
Right.
Yeah.
Had a police, John, I'll explain the situation. It was late at night. It was about 2:00 in the morning. Had a police officer. I was in North Brunswick. He was driving in the middle of both lanes. And I was trying to get my friend home. I just picked him up from a party. The police officer for 5 minutes was driving in the middle of both lanes. I couldn't get around him. Then he decides to move over into the right lane. And when I get in front of him in the left lane, he pulls me over, immediately pulls me over. The first thing he says is, I smell alcohol and drugs in the car. The very first thing he said. Was there alcohol in the car? Nope. My friend smelled like alcohol because I had picked him up from a party and he went onto the passenger side in order to pull me over. And that's the first person he talked to. And of course, this dumbass decided to open his mouth and ask why I got pulled over instead of me saying it first. But that's neither here nor there. Then this guy comes around to the other side after I told him there are no drugs. There is no alcohol in the car, sir. And he asked me to get out of the vehicle. Reasons I still don't understand why.
What did you do?
I got out of the car as he asked me.
There you go.
He's lying to
I would have had
point.
No.
That's not the point. And I don't think you're understanding.
This is why you guys get in trouble.
Don't pull that, John. Come on. Don't even pull that.
No, I'm sorry. No. And I will get irate over this point.
Okay.
I'm sick of hearing that. You pull me over for no goddamn reason and you want me to comply with your entire bullshit? No, these motherfucking listen, I have plenty of friends that are cops, right? I respect with their law enforcement is needed and it is required. But you know what? The men and women that serve as police officers and have fucking ego problems need to go punt and kick rocks. Like, no, you're pulling me over because of XYZ reason. If I'm not committing a crime, you shouldn't be pulling me over. Period. I don't give a fuck. I don't get you. And doing whatever they ask you is essentially giving into government. And we know Republicans are so fucking anti-government.
The Republicans. Okay.
They
So you don't
are.
think
All you guys do is talk
Democratic
about
cops
being.
do this stuff? Okay,
What?
hold on.
You guys
Hold
talk
on.
about being so
You guys don't
anti-establishment. What the fuck
You
are you
don't think
talking
this
about?
happens to white people too? That's what cracks me up.
I'm not saying it. Listen, the race card with me is not going to work because I personally don't give a fuck. My family
right.
background is so diverse, so I don't care about the race thing. I care about the principle of the fucking matter. The point is, these fucking dickhead police officers that just want to pull over people, they're the one escalating problems most of the time. What are you talking about? Are we not watching all the same shit? They cause the problems.
Right. And say, what do? You get out and say, or you won't get out and say, I'm not getting out of the car because I know my rights.
What the fuck do we have rights for then? They're violating. You know what we should do? We should just sue all of them. Sue all of them. Make none of these cocksuckers want to fucking. Nah, John, it's not okay, bro. I hear your point. Comply. But you know what?
Listen,
you don't comply with tyranny, man. You don't.
I understand what you're saying. And I'm going to tell you a story about me. Back in the 80s, I used to DJ in clubs, bars and clubs. All right. And every time they would see me coming out of a bar at like 2:30, 3 o'clock, because I'd pack up all my stuff. And back then, kids, we had things that were called albums and 45s, and you had to pack them all up in your car. So I got out of there late. And when I was DJing, I must have got pulled over, and I'm not lying, like more than 5, less than 10 times. And every time, and I don't drink when I'm working, every time the cop said, I smell alcohol. I said, well, officer, I don't know why you smell alcohol because I don't drink. Get out of the car. I got out of the car. I'm not going to have a situation where I started. Next thing you know, I'm in a fight with a cop. I got out of the car. He says to me, I want to give you a sobriety test. And I go, officer, I have not been drinking. I said, I'm not doing a sobriety test where I'm touching my nose and walking a line. Please give me the breathalyzer. And then I immediately want to go to the hospital and get blood drawn. So when my lawyer gets a hold of this, that we can tell that I had no blood in my system or no alcohol in my system. And then a couple times I blew the thing and I was let go. And another time they had 4 cops there and I just sat there and I said, take me to jail or whatever. And they were 100% in the wrong. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't fight with them. And I didn't escalate everything.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Right. Is everyone that you know as level-headed as you are?
Well, no, but okay. But is it okay because they're not level-headed?
I'm going to ask you another question.
Sure.
When you've repeatedly, or people that you know, repeatedly had a negative experience, at some point that experience affects them in a negative way, right? It's psychology, basic psychology.
I'm going to answer your question. Matt, listen, I'm a very hyper person. So when I got pulled over like the 5th time after I pulled out of there and I know I didn't drink and I know the cop was sitting across the street watching me pull out of there at 2:30.
Is it the same cop though? That's
no, it was different towns because I used to go to different clubs. So it was different towns, but they would sit there and wait for a guy to come out at 2:30 and all. They figure they got somebody drinking. So they would pull me. You don't think by the 5th time I was like, this motherfucker. You think I didn't think this motherfucker? I did think this motherfucker. Now, when he walked up, I was, yes, sir, hands on the wheel. Can I do for you, sir? Do you know why he pulled me over? No, sir, I do not know why you pulled me over. Well, you crossed the line. What line? What line did I cross? Well, you crossed that line. I said, sir, I don't believe I did. He says, have you been drinking? Absolutely not. Well, you just came out of a bar. Yes, I'm a DJ. I was a DJ there. Sometimes they would okay, and they would let you go. Other times they didn't give a shit. They were looking for something.
But it sounds to me,
you cannot let
though,
that get the best of you.
But it sounds to me though,
yes.
it sounds to me though that you want to hold the reaction of the citizens accountable, right? There's accountability on our part in how we react to police officers, but there's zero accountability on their part on how they should be enforcing the laws. Half these people don't even know the laws. They don't even know them.
I'm just saying that that's not the time to put up a fuss. That's not the time.
When is it then?
When
is it?
After you get processed and you get representation, and then you go through what either they have. Well, back then, now they have body cameras and dash cams. We didn't have that shit back then. It was my word against his word back. Before back in the day.
I got a rant. It's not really a random question, but it is a question. Now, John, if you were pulled over wherever, right?
I lost my license 3 times by the time I was 25. I got pulled over a lot.
Let me ask a question.
I should have slowed the fuck down.
Jersey,
yes,
if you got pulled over in Texas, if you got pulled over in South Carolina, right?
I did.
Right? Say you handled all those situations the same way, right? You think be fine, right? You'll be fine, right? You handle the situation the same way, you'll be good. Same
think you
issues,
would.
whether we're speeding, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, now let's flip the roles. Now me or Mike or someone even darker.
Okay.
If we were pulled over in any of those southern states with the same situation that you were in, whether it was we were DJs, we're leaving a bar, or we might have been going a little bit over the speed limit. Now, in those southern states, you know what I mean by southern.
I certainly do.
You think our situation, the outcome would be the same as it would for you?
Not every time.
I can't say that 100%. I have no idea.
Not every time. No, I've been pulled over in the South, right? I've been pulled over in Virginia. I've been pulled over in North and South Carolina. Now in Virginia, you go 2 miles you go over 2 miles over the speed limit, they're pulling you over in Virginia. Now I was on my way to Fort Bragg. I had my uniform in my window, my dress uniform at that, awards and everything, right? And I'm like, I didn't notice the speed limit change, like doing everything that you do. The dude was still wanted to pull me out of the car. And I'm like, you see my uniform in I got upset with him because yes, I know I was speeding. Bro, give me my ticket and send me on my way. Why you want to pull me out of the car? I told you where. You asked me where are you going. I told you where I'm going. I'm on my way to report to duty at Fort Bragg. Here's my military ID. There's my dress uniform in the window. Here's my driver's license. Why are you trying to pull me out of the vehicle?
Look, we're kind of arguing around the same thing. I'm just going to say this. Out of all the police that are out there, you're going to have, like in any other profession, you're going to have assholes that are out there. And you have to be able to learn how to handle the assholes. That's all I'm saying.
I just feel like there's a lot of assholes that have the badge, though, or at least it comes off that way as you see it portrayed in media. I mean, in my case, and I've heard, and I can't confirm this or deny it, but I've heard rumors that, like, say, people with out-of-state plates, they're kind of targets for people in southern states. Now, I moved to South Carolina. I still have my Jersey plates. I don't have to change them yet, or at least not right now, until I move to North Carolina next year. So
I'm coming back from Florida. I'm back
from
Florida with my sister. We're driving back to Jersey from Florida with Jersey plates. She's in front of me. I'm behind her. I forget how far I'm behind her. But anyhow, cop pulls her over. And I guess we were speeding. So he pulls her over. So I pulled behind her, way behind her. So he's talking to her. So he walks back to my car and he goes, why are you stopped? I said, well, that's my sister in the car there. So I'm waiting for her. We're following each other back to New Jersey from Florida. He goes, okay. He goes back. He gives her a ticket. He comes back. He gave me a ticket.
That's my point. So I'm just like, it doesn't matter regardless of race. You're going to find assholes.
I didn't fight with him. I said, okay.
John, I hear what you're saying, but at some point we have to hold these people. Their job is to enforce the law. If we can't rely on them to do that, then how can we trust them? You cannot say just comply and not understand why people feel the way they do. You can't. That's not fair.
Wait a second, Mike. I just want to move on a little bit, but just tie this in, right? So you're talking about people's reactions and feelings about police and everything. Now, you know me. What do I study? Media and film. I understand how much the media plays into everybody's perception of the world. It plays into our perception of political parties. It plays to our perception of people, right? The media on the Republican side, let's look at Fox News, right? That's Republican. CNN is Democrat. We know how it is. Republican media, usually when they're depicting both races, black and white, black is usually negative. White is usually more positive. When CNN depicts both races, it's a little bit of a mix. They're not necessarily depicting all black people as positive, but they're not also depicting all things black as negative. And the same thing with white. But the media does give us a different perception or drives our perception of the world. If you look at how African Americans are represented in media, right? Most of the stories that you see that involve African Americans usually have to do with violence,
porch monkeys,
usually have to do with death, usually has to do with drugs, or sports. But for some reason in media, when it comes to white people, usually they are portrayed in such a positive light as if they are better or far more off than other races. So my question to you is, I'm gonna ask a question is, how do you feel? We're not gonna say how do you feel. What do you think about the media's perception of both races and both parties and how they derive people's perceptions of both of those entities?
Okay, good question. So, all right. So, how I'm going to answer that question. If they find somebody that's carjacking your car and he's white, how should they handle that?
The same way they would
Just
anyone
play
else.
the news the way it's supposed to be.
Right. If this carjacking is by someone who is black, they should handle it the same way. Race should have nothing to do with the media.
Agreed.
When they're reporting on crime or whatever, it doesn't matter. If there's a bar fight and a guy pulls out a gun and he's white and he shoots somebody in the bar, it should be handled the same way it would be if anybody else. To be honest with you, the reason that the scales of justice, the lady is blindfolded, is because she's not supposed to see. It's supposed to be justice is supposed to be blind to color, and that's the way I believe it. But I understand where you guys come across, where you say if the cops are doing something wrong, you say no. I understand. My thing is that's not the place to put the fight up. The place to do is comply and then live to fight another day.
Well, we talk about the media right now. We're talking about the media.
So let's go to the media.
So let's go to the
media right now. So right now I've watched 2 debates, three. One from President Biden and Trump, one from Biden and Harris. I mean Trump and Harris, and then just the other day I saw one with JD and Walls. Okay, so now what happens is now there is a difference between the way they handle the Republicans and the way that they handle the Democrats. Doesn't matter race, doesn't matter whatever. You have people that are black that as soon as they become Republican, then they are vilified. They're the black face of white supremacy, which that one, I love. That's a fucking chef kiss. The black face of white supremacy. The difference is in ideology. And to be honest with you, if we brought up things that we brought up issues, you and me would probably be more in agreement than disagreement. What the media does right now is they want us fighting with each other. Black, white, Republican, Democrat, man, woman, transgender, normal people, all that shit. They want to fight.
Fuck no, let me stop. I was about to say something fucked up.
I threw that last one in just for you guys. Hey,
listen, the trans don't like us.
We know they don't like us.
They specifically don't like me. The trans don't like me.
About that.
Trans don't like me.
When you get together, like we're doing right now, we're having a conversation. And I respect you for having me on here because, and like I said, I didn't want to come in here and fight, but I do want to come in here and have the hard conversations. Like I see where you guys feel the way you feel. I do that. I do. But what the media does, and they've done this to Trump, and the example from earlier today, you said that Trump said there's fine people on both sides. He did. And then if you go 10 seconds further into the thing, he says, I'm not talking about the white supremacists and those people. They should be denounced all the time. They don't play that part of it. What he was saying, that there were some people there protesting to keep the statues, and there were some people protesting there to remove the statues, and it wasn't there because of race. It was there because of history. And that's what he was talking about. And then he said, I'm not talking about the assholes in the fucking with the tiki torches and the tan pants and the shirts. That he says those people, those races should be denounced entirely. So what the media does is they clip that out to make them look bad.
I have a question for
all the time.
May I say something, Mike? Because I haven't really gotten a chance to speak, and I kind of agree with John in the sense where this is why I don't watch any media like CNN.
I watch both
Fox
of them.
News. I can't, because as far as I'm concerned, they're both bullshitting me.
I want to be informed.
I understand you want to be informed. I would rather find other ways to do that than to have anchors lecture me on how I should think, like how a lot of primetime news does. At least that's how
before-
it comes off like that to me, anyway.
So how do you get informed? How do you get
He
informed?
doesn't. Clearly, he doesn't.
Let me give y'all a breakdown.
I never
quick.
said that.
I'm
I
fucking
tried
with
to.
you, man. Relax,
yeah.
relax.
So man, let me give you a breakdown real quick.
Sure,
right?
go ahead.
Hold on. Before you do that, I just have one question, because we know how I feel about Donald J. Trump. We know how I feel about this dude. Okay, I got a direct question for you, John. Do you believe he incited January 6th?
I believe that it was a dumb move to have a fucking rally there. I don't think he thought what was going to happen was going to happen.
So you don't think his speech was a direct correlation, like cause and effect, right? Speech, right? You're not correlating the two?
I think that both sides use rhetoric like, they're
back and stand by.
That's from you're talking about the
Proud Boys thing.
Proud Boys when they had that's not the January. That wasn't the thing.
But that ties into that.
He had two people yelling at him. He had Chris Wallace and then he had Joe Biden yelling at him at the time thing, and he made a mistake. Look, everybody makes a mistake. Jesus Christ, Walsh just said he hangs with school shooters.
Listen,
right,
we're not talking about Walsh right now, though. See, I don't like that deflection.
What I'm trying to say is, people. I don't think that he thought. I don't even think he knew who the Proud Boys were, to be quite honest with you.
Come on,
I don't know.
The man that holds nuclear codes, you think doesn't know who the Proud Boys are?
I didn't really. Do you know who the Proud Boys are?
Who the hell doesn't know who the Proud Boys are, John? Come on, be serious.
Don't
come up here. Don't come in here and try to play that bullshit card with me, because I'm calling you on it, man. Okay, that's not what we're going to do.
They went as security for people that were getting attacked on the right, that were getting attacked by people on the left. That's how that all started. Do you know that the Proud Boys? You know who the president of the Proud Boys are?
Yeah,
he's
he's Latino.
Yes, he's a Latino.
He's lost.
They don't. There's
a lot of lost Latinos in this country. I ain't gonna hold you.
There's Proud Boys that are black. There's Proud Boys that are Latino. There's Proud Boys that are gay.
And listen, like I said earlier, I do not give a rat's ass what color you are. I don't care.
Not the race, the organization.
The race is, for me,
represent
a lot of the times. So I'll tell you something real quick, right? Right around that time George Floyd thing happened, right? My initial reaction to it was, if you comply, your black ass would be out of trouble. You niggas ain't shit. That was my first initial response.
Mine too.
Right?
Not in those words, I would hope.
Surprise. Yeah, you probably said it with the hard R. You niggers ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. I'll say it for you. I got you.
You can't prove that. Go ahead.
You have not denied it though. You ain't denied it though. But anyway, and then because like I said, my experience has been very. I'm Hispanic, right? My family is from Panama. I come from a Hispanic background. My experience as being black, to be quite honest, as being black in the USA has been more negative because of black people. To be quite honest with you, right? So I had to sit down and engage in conversation with people that have gone through these negative experiences with law enforcement and wonder why they feel the way they do about law enforcement. Why is it fuck the police coming straight from the underground? You know what I'm saying? Trying to understand all these things, because my experience with cops, for the most part, has been pleasant. The last time I got pulled over in the U.S., I was flying in Middlesex. I had my uniform on. I was feeling myself, feeling good. Cop comes up, he pulls me over. Whoop, whoop. Comes behind me, sees my uniform on, asks me for my driver's license, sees my ID. He's like, hey, thank you for your service. Slow the fuck down. And set me on my way. My experience has always been pleasant. I've never felt threatened, but that is my experience, right? That I cannot then say, hey, your experience means nothing. Why are you saying fuck the cops? Maybe you should just follow the law. That's ridiculous.
I think there needs to be an understanding. I think there needs to be an understanding of African Americans' fear.
No, I won't do that. No, I hate that.
I don't give a damn what you feel. Is what I'm saying.
It ain't only niggas though.
No, but when I'm making a point here, there's got to be an understanding of why African Americans are so frightened and uncomfortable when it comes to law enforcement. I mean, if you look at the beginning of time, how
were you there?
The police started. I know my history. Okay. You go back to how police started. First of all, police originated in the late 1800s in order to keep black people, formerly enslaved people, in certain areas and make sure they didn't infiltrate with the whites. And this was before redlining was even a thing. Then if you move into the 1950s and 60s during the civil rights movement and how African Americans were treated at the hands of law enforcement when they were having peaceful protests against the laws that were perpetrated against them by who? White people. Let's be real. African Americans in our country we still don't have full right, but we haven't had legitimate rights since what year? The Civil Rights Act of what? 1965, right?
Right. Okay.
Right. So when we say that we have a fear or we are uncomfortable with law enforcement, it's because history shows us that there has been such a bad relationship between both entities because of what they have done to us, because they've taken advantage of their position in law enforcement and used it on a demographic that had far less laws that protected them as American citizens. So when we bring it back to now, the repercussions or the reactions from African Americans when it comes to law enforcement, it's a trickle down theory.
We're going backwards. We're going backwards. You're right. You're absolutely right.
I mean, America loves to go back.
In the early 70s.
America loves to go back.
To the 80s up until 2000, race relations were getting a lot better. You could see it. It was getting a lot better. And then, and you guys are going to hate what I say, Barack Obama got in office.
Yep.
And it started
white America said, God damn it, they put a nigga in office.
Yep.
I voted for him.
About this.
I voted for him the first time in the election. I voted for
John,
him.
but you cannot tell me that people, even I would almost bet, if I were a betting man, I'd bet that even people that were upset that this man was in office.
There's no coincidence that both Barack Obama and Kamala Harris have been questioned about their American ancestry, and every other president hasn't. There's no coincidence there. I find it very funny, and this is how I know people don't know their own history. How people tried to say when Barack Obama was being president, and I'm not using that. I'm glad you voted for him. Blah blah blah. That's on you. But at that time, let's be honest. How many times was Barack Obama's Americanism questioned, his American heritage questioned
by who?
White people, because
no. Say his name.
Donald Trump said,
Trump too. Yeah, we know that. Yes,
I want to see his birth certificates.
Let's look at his birth certificate. He's from Hawaii. Is Hawaii not an American state? Yes, his dad was African, but what was his mom? White. And I always find it very funny that people, and this is how you know that America is so racist.
It's not. America's not racist.
It is.
It's not. It's not racist.
It was founded on racism.
If it is racist, it's black against white. If it is racist, it's black against white.
Listen, I've been taking down too many white girls for you to say it's been black against white. Please slow down with that shit.
You don't think I've taken down a sister or two in my life? I have. It doesn't mean
no. See, hold on.
Guys, quit arguing. Let Dante speak as he was speaking. Dante was speaking first, Mike.
Listen to me real quick, because I think I got to drop a little history lesson.
Oh, here we go.
Oh boy.
America, I know, right? Because you don't know your own history, and I'm gonna tell it to you.
My history. I'll go against America. You any day.
America was built on racism.
I ain't that, brother.
Say that Christopher Columbus.
There's many.
No. That's too far back. That's too far back.
You want to go a little? I'll move forward.
A little further.
Let's talk about slavery. Everybody loves to ignore slavery.
No one's ignoring slavery.
Yes, they are.
We knew now. Back then, we would have picked our own cotton. Nobody.
No, you wouldn't have. No, you wouldn't have.
Come on, dog.
Now, John, listen. Let me tell you something. You white as hell. Ain't no way you surviving. Ain't no way you surviving 110 degree picking cotton. Talk about ain't no way. What are you talking about?
Originally,
as someone that now lives in the South, I can attest to what Mike is saying. Look, I don't want to go the fuck outside.
It's 25 years I worked in the elevator business. I worked in hot machine rooms, 100-something degrees and stuff like that. Don't tell me I can't work in the heat. Listen, I sweat, but I work in the heat.
Hold on, that's a different kind of heat.
No, I don't want to pick cotton. I get it. Racism was ugly. It's a stain on this country.
Well, it still is.
It's
still is.
There's no slavery now.
No, there's no. Well, who said that?
Racism.
There's legalized slavery. Yes, there is.
Okay.
What is it? The 13th Amendment? Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
What are you talking about?
You get arrested, you become a slave.
Oh, okay. Yes.
You're a slave. Legal slavery. Yes, there is. Let's
We'll go with that. But it's not.
Okay.
It doesn't have to do with race. White people get arrested. Black people get arrested. Okay, we'll go with that. But what I'm trying to say right now is that the more we talk about it, the more we make it an issue, the more that Black people turn themselves into victims, which is what Diddy's doing right over here. Turning yourself into a victim instead of bringing yourself out of this and let it go. Yeah, of course there was slavery. Of course there was. And in the 60s, it was horrible. All right. But it started coming out of here. Let's not go back. Let's not go back to that bullshit again.
Nobody
wants to go back.
This I know you're not understanding where I'm coming from. I'm not saying we're going back. But as I said earlier, everything is a trickle-down theory. Those things that happened 50, 60 years ago, even 100 years ago, we still feel the effects of them today. I mean, let's look at it from an educational standpoint. For 400 years, Black people weren't even allowed to have a proper education. They were not allowed to read. They were not allowed to write. And if they were lynched, they were killed, they were shot, and it was over. It was a done deal. Now, if you look at it into the 20th century, African-American school systems had hand-me-down books, run-down schoolhouses. A lot of the teachers that were there had to get their own education on their own. Why? Because there were higher education institutions that would not allow Black people to even attend because of the color of their skin. That is the reason why in today's society, there are still African Americans that don't have the aptitude to read on the same level as other races, because for
I got something to say on that.
Look, may I say something too, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
It also doesn't help that, to John's point earlier, is that the education system is so bad now that like people that are my age or people that are in high school are now reading it like
you can go lower than
level,
that,
maybe even lower. Exactly. So I mean, it doesn't help that in that regard either.
The American education system overall is an absolute joke. The only thing where I disagree with you on, Dante, is this, right? We live in the age of technology. A lot of the things, if you have the willingness to learn, you can learn whatever the fuck it is that you want, right? My issue with Black people is, as a Black man, because yes, I'm of Hispanic origin, but look at me, I'm a Black man, is the victim mentality. Yes, there are a lot of stones placed in the way. Yes, there are. Okay. And for some Americans, including white people, that is the case as well. There are just a lot of things that they have to overcome. It comes to a point in life where you have to stop making the excuses, stand up on your fucking 2 feet and do what you. If my mother can move from another country to the United States of America and make something of herself to the point where she's making over $150K a year, why is it that other people cannot? Yes, the system is against you. We've known this. I sometimes often find myself thinking, you know what? Maybe segregation wasn't such a bad thing.
Something I just saw something the other day where they said, what if some corporate or bunch of people got together and they bought like, I don't know, a couple thousand acres, and they decided to build a community there. And they said that, they just, what? Only white people can live here. We don't want any problems. We just want white people here. Then there was this situation where a bunch of Black people bought property. I think it was in Georgia. I don't know where it was.
Atlanta.
It was. And they were going to build this community where there was no white people in there. And I'm like, okay, fine. That's fine. I don't need to go in there. That's fine. If you don't want me there, I'm not doing it.
It's hypocritical.
See, the thing is, though, even within that situation that you just explained, the fact that they even have to do that is sad, but only for the reason because there are so many areas that have African Americans and white people where just African Americans just aren't treated the same. I mean, if you want the reason for a community to be built like that, I mean, let's look at the Tulsa riots. Let's look at Redline. Let's look at Redline.
Black Wall Street.
There's a reason.
There's
a reason why there are so many African Americans in impoverished neighborhoods. It's not, they're black and they're not doing anything. They're not helping out.
There aren't jobs in these communities.
Gentrification.
There aren't any jobs
thing,
in these
right?
communities.
And you have there were so many financially and socially affluent black neighborhoods all over, just like they're socially and financially affluent white neighborhoods, Italian, Chinese, Korean, Indian, they're all over, right? But every single time there is a financially affluent African American neighborhood, what happens?
They move to the white neighborhoods.
Nope. White people and big businesses come in, they say, ooh, this is some great land. We could build here. So what do? They get us by saying, hey, we're going to give you some money to move out so we could take your home. And then they build up infrastructure where black people can't even afford to stay or get resources or live there anymore. So then they go into an even smaller minority area to live.
This is what happens.
Trickles down and continues.
Hang on. This is what happens. And I'm going to use Camden, New Jersey as an example. Camden, New Jersey in the 60s, homes were beautiful. They didn't even have locks on the doors. I had an aunt that lived over on Haddon Avenue. She never even had a lock on her door. So black people started moving in and white people started moving out. And the neighborhoods went downhill and the property values dropped.
Why?
Because of the crime and because of...
Why?
I don't know why.
Why?
All right. But the property values drop.
So
then the white people come in because the property values drop. They buy these homes at low prices. They fix them all back up again, and now the black people can't afford to live there, so they start moving out to different places, and then they just build it back up again. Now, is that right? No. Why is it? Why is it that when black people come into a town like Baltimore, Camden, Newark, that the town goes into the tank? Why is it? Especially when there was an infrastructure there that was working.
What it sounds like is that let's call a spade a spade. What it sounds like what you're trying to imply is black folk move in, crime goes up, white people leave, area goes to shit, white people buy it, black people move out, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be ignorant enough and naive to say that that's not part of it, because that would be stupid. And I'm not stupid. So that is part of it. But also there is a part of it where white folks feel uncomfortable around being around black folks. So they leave. What they take with them are opportunities, right? When you had all these opportunities, you had little Jake working down at the grocery store, ending, 50 cents a fucking hour. And then they decide to leave and take all that opportunity with them, right? Like all the factory work and all these things, right? They take all these opportunities with you. Take all these opportunities with them. You leave people with no option but to turn to crime. I'm not saying it's the right thing. Of course, it's not the right thing. I don't think anyone should turn to crime, but that's what they do.
Or they could buy the store that was just left, turn it into a business, build it up into
with
a business.
Funding from one bank? From what money? What bank is giving them a loan? Come on, man.
Getting the bread.
Well, again, the property values drop, so you don't need the same amount of money to buy.
But you still need capital to start any business. We know that. Come on, man. You still need the capital to start any business. If the bank isn't giving you a loan, you got to find some way to do it. You got to.
Okay.
If we're talking 50, 60 years ago, that's not even a guarantee that the bank, it's not a guarantee. They're not going to give them that money.
All right, stop.
No, stop.
Hang on a second. So the Asian people will move into that town, like 10 of them. They'll all pull their money together. They'll buy this thing on a bootstrap, and they'll make it into a profitable business. The Indian people will do the same thing. You can't buy a cup of coffee in here in my area at a Dunkin' Donuts where there's not the person serving to you doesn't have an accent. They come in, they pull their money together, they buy a business, they get it profitable, they make money, they buy another one. Mm-hmm. What stops neighborhoods from doing that in the black community?
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna point out the obvious, right? White people are not as threatened by Asians or Indians or Hispanics or whatever. They're not any more or less hardworking people than black folks. I've refused to accept that excuse. They're not any more or less The only thing black people are guilty of is not uplifting them goddamn selves. Whenever it comes to their
That's
community,
exactly what I was going to say.
Whenever it comes to community, like let's say Shalice is selling, she opens her nail shop, right? And she's charging a little bit more because she's gone to school and done her due diligence to have a successful business. And she wants to charge X amount. You know what? Her friends and people are going to be like, why should I go pay that amount? Why should I? They don't want to support each other. They won't support FUBU, but they'll support Tommy Hilfiger. You know what I'm saying? They won't support Aniche, but they'll go support, I don't know, whatever the fucking other famous brand is. And that's always been the recurring theme. That's why a lot of the time when I hear black folk talking, I just want to sit down and be like, I want to smack the shit out of them and be like, bro, listen to what you're saying. We don't help each other. I give it to you myself. In high school, my mama kicked me out because I had no goddamn sense, right? Went to my black friends. Oh, nah, man, we can't. You know who took me in? My white friend. He was my best friend in high school, Corey, my best friend. Mama took me in. Matter of fact, they took me to Pennsylvania that weekend and I went snowboarding for the first time. You know what I'm saying?
That's
a lot of
white of you.
Shit, snowboarding is fun as fuck. I don't know what you're talking about. But the problem is we can't always blame other people for our problems. Are they a reason for our problems? Yes, of course.
Hey, first of all, hold on. I want to intertwine that because
because that would make it your fault.
I don't want it to seem like I don't understand or don't think or don't know that we have issues in our own community. As you know, I've been the first to call us out on our bullshit. You know that. I have no problem doing that. I do know that some African Americans rely too much on the government instead of going out to get on their own. I know that. But I also have to understand where my perspective comes from. It comes from where I come from. I didn't grow up in an area that was minority influence. I come from a white suburb. I went to a predominantly white and Indian public school system.
Smelly patelis.
My outlook on life is a lot different because of where I come from. I never had to worry about where I was going to get my next meal. I've never had to worry about having clothes on my back. And I have never, ever, ever had to worry about if my mom and dad were going to be at the crib when I got back home from school. That was never, ever an issue for me. But for me to say that I don't understand why certain African Americans feel the way they do because of area of which they come from, I do. But within that, there is most definitely has to be a perspective and understanding that you can't just rest on those laurels. You have to be able to get out of that situation in any way possible. But it is not easy for everyone.
Go ahead, Matt.
When you grow up in an area like a Newark or a Camden.
It's not easy. But let me ask you this question.
I was going to say something, please. Thank you. I was going to say, though, because do you think all that government assistance kind of formed a sense of complacency amongst a greater community?
Well, hold on.
Hold on. I'm only asking a hypothetical.
Hold on.
No, it's there's nothing wrong with you at first of all. Don't ask it like you scared.
No. Say it with your chest first of all. Well, hold on. White people get more government assistance than black folks do. Why is this the narrative? You can go look it up. Go look it up.
I will look it up. But I'm just saying is if we're going off of that, and Dante said they rely too much on the government assistance. I mean, I'm just asking, do you think that it formed a sense of complacency over the years? That's all.
Of course.
Or could it be a cultural thing now because of the way the media and the culture has changed where, let's dump and run, knock a bitch up, leave. In the 60s, in the 50s and 60s, there was a lot of two-parent black families, and they took care of their kids and they educated their kids, and education was a big thing because they knew education would get them out. Then what happened was Lyndon B. Johnson, another white president, signed a law for welfare because he said, I'll sign this and they'll never vote Republican again. But what they did with that law was that they said that you cannot cohabitate with a man. So what happened was a woman she would lose her money if she cohabitated with a man. And so that's what started this thing of fatherless. Now, it is also a culture. Now, you just said, Dante, you said, you grew up in here and all. So my question to you, would be, what are you going to do to help your race out of a situation? Are you going into these areas? Are you trying to teach these kids how to read? Are you going to do something to uplift your community?
I'm so glad you asked that, because
The right person to ask too.
It's just the right person to ask.
Right person to ask. Okay, is I am a basketball coach, and within my coaching, I do everything I possibly can to educate my kids and show them that the world ain't just about basketball. The world is about getting your education and being a fluent leader in your community. I am a leader in my community here in Hillsborough. Everybody knows me. I take care of all my kids. I got fired from my job as a basketball coach at the place that I was working at in town way back in May. There has not been a single week, day, or a month that goes by that I don't contact my kids, be there for my kids, because they need that. Now, when I go to areas that aren't as affluent, I'm even harder on those kids.
Mhm.
And the reason being is because I know what basketball can do to get them out.
Yeah.
But I also have to tell them that this is not the end goal. Because I've always said this as a basketball coach, and I'll say it to the day I die. I don't give a fuck about basketball. I care about you in your life, in your future. And this will not be the end all be all. You have to have different paths and different opportunities for yourself to be successful. Don't put everything into a sport. Understand that you can be successful as a doctor, as a civil leader. You can be successful as a teacher. All of these things, and that's stuff that I try to harp upon my kids all the time. A specific situation: when I first got my job coaching as a 8th grade AAU coach about 2 years ago, I had a kid come up. I feel like I've told you guys a story before.
You may have.
Black kid, a black kid, in my town. After our first practice, I'd never met this kid before. After our first practice, his mom came up to me and said, "Coach, my son doesn't think he's going to be as good of a basketball player because his father is not in the picture. His father wasn't around, didn't grow up with his dad. He felt like he wasn't going to be who he wanted to be." Now, as a basketball coach, all I'm supposed to do is teach him X's and O's and how to play the game. Right then and there, after that conversation, my responsibility to him changed. My responsibility to him changed. I don't only talk to him about basketball. I talk to him about life. He calls me up, once or twice a week, asking me about any and everything, because I am a figure to him. I'm a father figure to him, and I am here to help him get to wherever he needs to be.
Father.
So we need 100 more of you.
Father.
I can't do that for everybody. I can't do that for everybody.
No, you can't. But you're doing
The people that I have the opportunity to, yes, I will do that for. So when I'm given opportunities to do that to other African American kids, I will 100% do that. But I can't speak for everybody. And that's the problem. There's not enough people like me. There's not enough people that will be willing to. I'm not getting paid millions of dollars to coach, but I do it because I love these kids and I want to see them grow and be successful young human beings with discipline, good character, good morals, because that's what makes a good person, not the sport you play.
I can also attest in the sense where I've seen Dante coach games as well as practices, and I can tell the type of the man, I should say, he is just by how he coaches the kids. And it's not just the black kids either. I mean, there's a bunch of white kids on the team too, and a bunch of other mixed race kids. So it's like everything he's saying, I can totally back up 100% from my point of view.
I'll give you this, John. In terms of me and my coaching, I don't go anywhere without a kid that I've had at camp, on a team, at a practice, anywhere where these kids aren't just in love with the fact that I'm there. Because I show up.
Pause.
I show up. I'm the school that I coach at right now is one of the best schools in the entire country for basketball.
And you hold on. You know something? You know something? Real quick. I'm gonna play devil's advocate, because why won't you coach at an inner city school? Why don't you have your Coach Carter?
Well, first of all,
that's my favorite movie. That's one of my favorite movies.
I'm glad you asked that. I'm really, really glad you asked that. First of all, when I took this job at Rutgers Prep, a nigga needed some money. So I
Okay.
took the job, but it was an opportunity that was given to me. And that's
Yeah.
kind of how coaching is. You got to be given an
Of course.
opportunity. Now,
Of course.
so, but listen, if I had the chance to, go coach at a school like at East Orange or St. Pat's where certain kids aren't as affluent as me, I would love to. First of all, the drive is too damn long and the money ain't there. But I'll tell you this.
It is.
Whenever any coach asks me to come, can you come do this camp? Hey, can you come do this clinic? I'm there, whether I'm getting paid or not, because I know how important it is to have a coach that cares about the kids as people and not as athletes. Because that's the main difference right there. There are a lot of coaches that coach in inner cities. To be honest with you, they don't give a damn about the kids. They care about the job and the money, but it's so much more than that. I know how much of a positive effect a coach that cares about you as a person can have in your future. I'm still very close to my high school varsity coach. I haven't seen him in a year, but I know if I called him up right now, yo, Coach Cowles, what's going on, man? We have a whole hour conversation. White guy, but he cares a lot about me. I have
Yeah, you
AU
must have been a
coaches.
scrub.
So in my
I was all state, all division, all conference, all county. Don't even try.
Probably
my nigga.
2-year varsity letter, right? 2-year varsity.
3.
listen,
3-year varsity.
I have
You a bum.
I have white man's disease. I can't jump no more than 3.5 inches vertical.
You're also very heavy.
Never guessed.
Well, even when I wasn't heavy, even when I was
gonna say,
we used to play down. We used to play this place called the dunk course. The rims were 8.5 foot high. I have a reach of 8 foot. I couldn't dunk the fucking ball.
Oh,
so listen, I love the fact that's going on. But one of the things is, it is about coaching. I think that, if we want to get into the race thing, I think that one of the things the Black community has to do is stop being a victim. It is going to be harder. It's going to be harder for them until that one person gets the scholarship, that one person gets into the NBA, and then that one person takes and lifts the rest of their family out of that situation, out of that lifestyle. And it will take that much time. That's why I said I
want to say something to that. Fuck these.
Go ahead.
Nah. See, the problem with that is everybody wants a handout and wants you to take them with you. Listen, I like how LeBron did it. LeBron empowered his people, put his people in positions of power, and let them rely on themselves to lift them up.
That's what I meant.
Give you responsibility. Okay.
I meant well, I should have said, and I didn't speak well. I meant to say that once they got into college, they paid for other people in their family to go to college, which lifted them out of there. I'm not saying giving people handouts, because that's the worst. Why do you think they don't want you to feed wild animals? Because they'll be dependent on it, and they'll always come back.
The perfect example of that. I'm glad you said that, Matt. You know me, Coach Prime. Yes. That is the perfect example of a African American that didn't only bring himself up, right, but brought his whole family along and gave them opportunities. And then those people started giving other people opportunities. And then those people started to come up in the world. Look at where Deion came from. South Florida, barely had 2 cents in his pocket. Now he's a multi-hundred millionaire coaching the most popular team in college football. And he is giving so many Black people and white people opportunities to influence the future.
There's a clip of Mike Wallace talking to Morgan Freeman, and where Mike Wallace asked him a question: "How do we stop racism?" And Morgan Freeman said, "Stop talking about it. Stop talking about it."
I hate Black History Month too.
Right?
People gonna get mad at me for saying that.
I don't like I said. I always said, look, man, Black History Month. They got to give it February, the shortest month of the year. I mean, even get shortchanged on a month.
No, see, here's the thing. It's difficult, right? Because the reason Black History Month exists because people were fighting for this acknowledgement, right? Our classrooms don't teach us these things. They don't. Matter of fact, if you paid like the history that I was taught in high school, and probably the same history that everyone here was taught in high school, Goddamn sweet baby white Jesus, right? They did everything for us. Goddamn, we need to be grateful to the white man because niggas did nothing, Hispanics did nothing, the Native Americans did nothing, and that's just not the case, right? The simple fact, like, let me tell you something. Sometimes when I get in talking to people, white people on the internet, I like to troll them and shit and talk shit to them. And I want to tell you something. But like, you know what? You talk about black people, but everywhere the white man has gone, he's caused nothing but chaos. Every single place they gone. Now, listen, John, you can argue with me all you want. You can argue with me all you want, but it is a very true statement. Everywhere, look at all colonialism. Look at him. Everywhere the white man has gone, he's done nothing but cause problems. Everywhere.
I mean, you look at Africa before American slavery even happened. They was chilling.
So I won't say they were chilling because a lot of people want to bring up the warring states everywhere. I think it is the nature of man to be at constant war. I honestly believe that because no matter what part of the globe you've been to, there was war, right? But see, a lot when we're discussing this history, people often like to say, well, black people were selling their own people into slavery. There's more to it than that. That is a portion of the truth, right? It's not a lie, but it's like I'm gonna tell you a part of the truth just to prove my point, and that's not the case.
But
There's a market for it.
Yeah,
when it comes to history, that's the American way. You're absolutely right. It's always partial history. I mean, John, I'll ask you a question. I won't even make it a black thing. Don't you find it very funny that when we talk about World War II in U.S. history classes, we always talk about three things: Hitler, the Nazis, concentration camps. But I always find it very funny that we never talk about the Japanese concentration camps that we had in America. Because it's very American for us to ignore certain parts of history that make us look bad. I didn't even learn about slavery in U.S. history until I became a junior in high school. And the only reason why I learned it, not because it was in the curriculum, but because, and shout out Mr. Eberly, because he's my favorite teacher all the time. First day of class, he said, you will learn about slavery in this class because you haven't learned anything about it and you don't understand your own history. And it's not fair that you only learn part of American history and not the entire history of the country that you
Well,
come from.
something, man, to that, though, you know what? When we teach on our history, we have to spend less time on the victim portion of it and more time on how we uplifted ourselves, right? Because we spend too much time saying, all you hear the same talking points every single time. We talk about the 400 years of slavery. We talk about Jim Crow. We talk about the 13th Amendment. You know what we don't talk about? We don't talk about our representation in the media. We don't talk about how these little young fuckers, like you look at the beginning of rap, right? And look how rap used to talk about uplifting people, right? And then you got into gangster rap, which is all they were doing was rapping about their surroundings, right? And then we're no longer rapping about enlightenment, right? We're rapping about money. We're rapping about bitches. We're rapping about fucking guns and shooting people. These little motherfuckers nowadays are rapping about doing drugs. That's all they're talking about. So we have to, yes, we can point out what Whitey has done to the black community. Fine. But you also have to talk about the representation. These kids idolize these little motherfuckers, man. They idolize these people. This is influence. I want to be like that. I want to be like the drug dealer on my corner, not understanding why he's a drug dealer. It is also on that drug dealer to see people so busy caring about $1, they don't care about the effects of what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? You can't have people, the drug dealer, you're selling drugs because you got no choice, right? There are no opportunities within your community. You turn left, you turn right, people are dying. I get that, right? But then you have the little youths coming behind you, and instead of teaching them the right way, teaching them to uplift themselves, teaching them to stay in school and pay attention, hey man, come sling this rock.
Have you guys watched this? Have you guys watched The Wire?
Plenty of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real.
But
it's
look,
real.
That's another thing. Look at our representation. Look at our representation. Look at all the good black movies. Go ahead and name them for me, Dante. Name them. The good black movies. Black people.
Boys in the Hood.
You know what I'm saying?
Baby Boy.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing. A lot of I'm glad you mentioned this because I was talking about media earlier. It gives us our perspective on who we are and what we are. You know, I find it so funny that when we have movies, right, and TV shows, that gives us an outlook on what and who we are. Look at the Cosby Show. I don't know if you know this, Matt.
Before the raping.
The Cosby Show. Yeah, before the rapes. Well, that was kind of during the rapes too. You know what I mean? But
during the rapes.
The Cosby Show first came out in '84.
Mm-hmm.
It was taken more well by. That's a terrible sentence. It was
received well.
It was received better. It was received better. It was received better by white America than Black America.
Yeah, because we went.
Why is that?
Be more like this.
No, but let me. But I say that because at the time, you think about all of the TV shows that were on during the '70s when Black people started to become TV stars. Sanford and Son,
Good Times.
You had a great father-son dynamic. Look where they lived. Had Good Times, and
yep, going up.
The good times, they weren't having good times. They were trying to get to good times by getting out of bad times because they lived. It was like 7 of them living in a small apartment, 2-bedroom apartment, right? And then you have the Jeffersons. They moving on up to a high rise in the city. But then you got the '80s, and you see, a Black doctor, a Black lawyer. They have money. They have kids. Yeah. They're sending them to college.
They have an education.
You know something?
Let's not forget Family Matters, a Black cop.
Yeah. You know something? Or Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Fresh Prince is I'm talking about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is my favorite TV show of all time.
Uncle Phil is the best TV dad ever. I don't give a fuck what nobody says.
That show specifically changed. It completely changed how African Americans saw themselves in the world, because it was like, damn, wait, we can have all this money and do all of these things. We had never seen a Black lawyer and a Black college professor that lived in a house like that and did things like that and still tackled issues that affected the community.
But here's my thing though. See, we always try to keep up with the Joneses. Listen, I don't necessarily look to my left or my right to see what the next man has to know what the hell I want from my life. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. One of the best things I did, worst things I did for myself was join the military. Right? The military ain't for everybody. First of all, I tell you, if you ain't built like that, don't join that shit. Okay, because it ain't for everybody. First of all, especially not the Army or the Marines. Okay, but I knew I came to the realization myself. Right? I looked at what I was doing. I had gone to college. I had done 2 years. I didn't finish because I was going through some personal things. And I looked at what I was doing. I did work. I worked 2 jobs, matter of fact, but I take all that money and piss it and smoke it away. And at some point, you have to look at self and hold yourself accountable and be like, look, I am making fucked up decisions. I am making piss poor decisions.
I'm glad you said that. Now, I'm not gonna name any names, and I've talked to this person about this before. One of my very good friends, you know him, didn't finish college, went to about 2-3 schools. Selling weed for a really long time to make money. He's starting to get his life together, starting to do some more productive things. But I've constantly told him, I'm like, bro, the way that you handle yourself and the things that you're doing, you can't rely on what you saw other people do and have that affect you and do the same exact stuff. You got to be better than that. You can't spend every single weekend drinking your liver away and going out and partying and everything, and then gambling and then going out and trying to make that money back with a fucking parlay. That ain't how the world's going to work, because eventually that money going to run out. You have to, I've been telling for the longest time, I'm like, bro, go back to school. Go back to school, finish. I mean, you only have a couple classes to get your associate's degree. And what's his response? Man, I know people that got their bachelor's and they working at Dunkin' Donuts, so they working at Starbucks. But
he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
But that's what the job market is also trash.
Yeah,
that's the other problem.
That's what happens when you get a liberal arts fucking degree. You know what I'm saying?
Right, that's the mentality, though. You see people that have degrees, you're like, oh, you know what?
Nah, these motherfuckers are lazy. They went to school to get a liberal arts degree and expect to come out making
There are
$100,000.
people that have degrees in business that can't even get into
A blanket
business.
a blanket degree in business. Ooh, come on, let's be real.
It used to
You know,
be.
it's funny because we talked about basketball earlier. In one of my classes, I studied communications, for those that don't know. One of my classes, they had a bunch of basketball players, right? And all I ever heard about was how they were going to make it to the NBA. They didn't give a fuck about the class.
From Ryder?
Yeah, no, I know. That's my point. From Ryder University.
Most people don't realize Ryder's Division I. So
No, I know it's Division
exactly.
One. One of my good friends played soccer at Ryder, so I know that they're D1.
High school, my JV basketball coach at high school went to Ryder. He played with Jason Thompson. Thompson is the only dude to go to NBA at Ryder.
There is levels to D1, and we know this. Okay, nah. My thing is, and you know something, people will listen to us and be like, and people will listen to this show and be like, you know, John had some good fucking points. Those fucking darkies don't know what they're talking about. And but other folks will listen.
I never said you darkies don't know what you're talking about.
I said people. That's not what I said, John. Calm your ass down. Okay. Don't fucking get a stroke, okay? I don't want to be my fault. All right? I don't want it to be my fault. Calm down. Okay? I said people will listen to this show and say, see, that's the problem. God damn, not listening skills. God damn it.
The other problem is, and this is pretty much my fault entirely. I mean, I'm the one that edits all the clips, so a lot of things have to be out of context for the sake of forwarding the conversation. One, and two, making it entertainment. Because, and I'll take words straight out of Mike's mouth. He told me specifically, make stuff that people are going to react to.
Yes,
and clearly,
yes,
you have.
Yes,
I'm not saying you've taken the bait, John.
No,
but you have taken the bait, quite a few times.
That's what we want. You want that. That's what pops.
That's what we want.
But my thing
drives conversation,
right? Podcasting is supposed to make you it's supposed to make you laugh, cry, get angry. It's supposed to invoke emotion, even if it's a negative emotion. It invokes emotion, and that's what you're supposed to do. And I get all that. And, you know, like I said, as you see, I don't have a problem wading in and having a tough conversation with people and sitting down and being respectful and hugging it out. That's what I love, that kind of shit. I think that's what we need more in this country. You know, getting a chance to know, get a chance to know the both of you. I know Matt, but to get a chance to know the both of you, you know, it is something. And, you know, that some of the things I did know about you guys, like I knew you were a coach, but I didn't know you were going, you know, the way that you were coaching youth and stuff like that. I think that's what we need more of. But when you sit there and you say, white people just don't know how ignorant they sound, I'm like, all right.
But that's not an entirely false statement. You know, that's not an entirely false statement. I mean, most of the time people speak from their perspective, right? Their perspective on life. And if my life tells me, like I on a daily, okay, I sit down and I don't take little snippets of what this person says or little snippets on what that. I want to listen to the whole thing. I sat down and watched 25 minutes of what DJ T had to say, and I'm sitting here and I'm listening, and I'm thinking to myself, how are people eating this up? Like, how?
I'll explain it to you.
You know what? I want you to explain, because I don't see it. I don't see it. He has no plan. People are blaming Biden for the tax plan, not realizing that we're under Donald Trump's tax plan until next year. People don't know this. People are complaining, why isn't Kamala Harris doing anything? Not realizing that the vice president has close to no power. No power. She can't affect change. But people are sitting there. I'm watching these magatards say these things, and I engage these bastards, because I'm like, you guys never been in a fucking civics class. You learn this shit in like 6th fucking grade with the powers that the vice president has. She can't do shit about. Yes, she can go recommend some shit. I don't even think Sleepy Joe is going to listen to that dumb shit. He's not going to listen to her.
He doesn't know where he is.
She has no power. She has none. She's a veto power for it. She's the tie-breaking vote. That's what she is. That's what she is.
The only reason that Joe Biden was president was because he was demented back in 2020. But the only reason he could get, no one knew this, was because of COVID, and he stayed in the basement and he didn't come out and he didn't talk. And so, all right. So let me get to the thing about Trump. One of the things I like about Trump is he's a businessman. Now, look, he's not been the best businessman. I know that because I grew up in New Jersey. I saw what he did to Atlantic City, and I saw that he ruined a lot of businesses. But what I do see right now is that he was never supposed to be president in the first place. Hillary Clinton was supposed to win. The polls were so wrong on what was going on, and the people, the United States, the citizens of this country said, we've had enough. Fuck you. We're going to put this fucking guy in. He's a businessman, and let's see what he can do. And what he did was he pissed people off. He pissed people off so much that the powers that be, and I believe, to be honest with you, this is just a shit show. I think there's a shadow government behind this government that's what's going on here. Now, I don't know if he can do anything about it, but they've already tried to kill him twice so far. And what I would like to see is all right, listen, let me just get this out. He's a businessman. I would like to see him apply things. Is he a politician? No.
Not at all.
It would be like me running for president. I'm not a politician.
You do a better job.
Okay, but the thing is, I'm not going to go out there and say shit that people are going to take out of context, clip in half, put it out. And by the time the media got done with me, you would think I'm a racist piece of shit. All right, so that's what I want to see. And the fact that both sides don't like him, nobody, the powers that be, the media don't like him, the rich people in California don't like him. Nobody likes him. Why? Don't tell me that they and the other thing is Kamala Harris.
No. We'll get to her. We'll get to her.
All right. For the past 5 elections, we've been picking the worst of the two. Like we've been picking the best of the worst. Okay. So that's what we've been doing for the past year. It's been going down and down and down. I can't see. I want him to go in there and rough it up a little bit. I want him to go in there.
John,
and rough it up.
He's been in there roughing it up. He was in there for. Did we forget that he was in there for 4 years? Like, did that? Yeah. Am I the only one that remember that happened? We did.
Do you remember that he was attacked? He was attacked the whole time he was in there. They did nothing but attack him.
Because he's a blithering buffoon.
He got impeached twice.
Because he's
right. The one time he got impeached with the thing. Wait a minute, hang on. The one time he got impeached, having a conversation with the people in Ukraine about a quid pro quo, where we have on video Joe Biden admitting to doing the same fucking thing, and no one said anything about it.
I mean, we let Trump get away with it. What do you think is going to happen to Joe? You going to put that old ass fart in prison or remove him from office?
Can I be honest here? When you actually, John, you asked this question earlier. Why don't we like Donald Trump? I don't like Donald Trump for one very specific reason.
I like my businessmen to be successful.
Not gonna get that one, but
okay.
The president is a figurehead. He's a representation of our country and how we conduct ourselves. Donald Trump, as our president, made us as Americans look very incompetent because of the things that he would say when he was out there during his rallies and his speeches. When you spread lies, when you say things like during COVID that we should drink bleach in order to get rid of a virus, stuff like that makes everybody on the outside look at us and be like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with y'all?
A person that's lived overseas through all that,
who understands how the government works, I really don't put all the blame on the president. I can't, because you know how government works. Everybody knows that you have to look at Congress in order to make laws and things that are going to change. But who represents us all over the world? It's the president. And when you have that figurehead going out and spreading lies and saying things that just to get a rise out of people, but there's no real facts or
Matt, before you go, I just want one question
justified behind it. It makes us as a country look bad.
I've one question. I'm being serious, and I'm not going to elaborate on or anything. Does Donald Trump to you exude strength? You look at him and you see strength?
I do. Why? I don't see anybody taking a bullet to the ear.
I'm not talking
getting up and putting his fist up and saying fight, and go back to the same fucking place in a couple of weeks.
You gonna tell me you dead ass believe that? Come on, man.
What, did he got shot? Do I believe he got shot? Yeah, I fucking believe he got shot. You know how I know he got shot? The guy behind him got killed. That's how I know he got shot. What do you think he did? And you think he held a packet to his ear?
I have no thoughts. I have no thoughts.
You don't think he got shot?
I have no thoughts.
You don't think that was a setup? They're trying to get rid of this guy by anything possible? There's no way that there shouldn't have been a fucking sniper up on that roof. They saw him walking the fucking cross.
Then his own people want him gone because that was incompetence on the Secret Service's part. His own people want him gone then. That's what it's boiled down to. He's lost more. Come on. It's his own Secret Service. No, it's not his own.
The Secret Service?
Who's running the Secret Service? His Secret Service.
They're run by the Department of the Secret Service is run by the Department of Justice, which is run by the Biden administration. He's asked for more and more people. He's never gotten it. They had to shame him into it. That whole thing was a fucking setup. If he didn't turn his head a quarter of an inch this way to look at that thing, we wouldn't be talking about this right now because he'd be fucking dead.
Like I said on a few episodes back, I said, I'm glad they didn't kill that white man because his people would have lost their fucking shit.
Yeah.
And I also, I find the response to it on both sides to be pretty abhorrent,
disgusting,
to say the least, because I know people that I was friends with that publicly said things like, oh, just all he had to do was aim a little bit more this way. And, obviously he would have been gone. Yeah, you don't fucking say that. You don't say the quiet part out loud, then retract your statement. and nonetheless, you bitch to us in our fucking group chat saying, oh, everybody's being mean to me now because you said something fucking stupid that you shouldn't say on a public platform. That's why people are fucking being mean to you. Granted, they took it too far too in some regards. I mean, there are people that went on private that I follow on Twitter that they just kept talking shit because they knew that only their followers were going to see it and more or less agree with them because everybody lives in this
fucking bubble
vacuum. Yeah, bubble, disgusting. Vacuum. I forget there's a term for it. And I'm forgetting what it is at this moment, but echo chamber, excuse me. Echo chamber. That's what it is. Everybody's living in a fucking echo chamber that they don't want to listen to anybody else's fucking opinion. So when you actually do present something where that's like, oh, this is a little bit different from your opinion, you're gonna start fucking fighting about it because you don't know how to handle it because all you've ever been told is, oh, you're right.
Yeah, I'm never going to change your mind about this. I'm just going to let me say this. Trump is not my first choice. I was a big Vivek Ramaswamy fan. I thought
I was too. Personally, I was too.
I don't like the fact that Donald Trump would not debate those guys because he was so far ahead in the polls he didn't think he needed to. I think he should have been up there to debate. And I think in the future that if you don't debate, you can't be on the ticket. Yeah. That's how I feel. All right. So that one is shaking up. But the problem is we have two choices. We have Kamala Harris and we have him. So now I said this before. It's like having a liver sandwich and a shit sandwich, and you have to eat one of them.
I'd rather the liver.
You might not like liver. All right. So, but you better eat the liver sandwich because if you don't eat the liver sandwich, you're going to end up eating the shit sandwich.
Let me ask you a question.
That's how I feel.
Would you want a doctor to operate on you that has had far too many failed surgeries? Would you want that? Would you want that to happen? You want the doctor that's been successful, right?
Well, to the point where you never learn from,
of course,
being successful. You always learn from your mistakes. So I would like to know.
No. Let him. No. Hold on. I got it. Go ahead.
All right. So when you first start playing basketball, if you want to take your stats from when you first started all the way up there,
of course,
you want to take it from your better spots.
Of course.
So I don't know. It's kind of a weird question.
But if we can narrow that down and be a little bit more specific, what ventures has Donald Trump? Because people often like to bring up the fact that he's a businessman, right? And I like to remind people that he's a failed businessman, right? What ventures has he gone? How many times has he's declared bankruptcy far too many times for my taste? His every venture, Trump Steaks, Trump University, failures. Matter of fact, he told us flat out that he abuses the system. The system is there in place. I'm not mad at him for doing it, but right, he tells people, he basically telling you, hey, look, you blind fucks, I'm a failure, but I'm going to talk real sweet. I'm going to placate to all you motherfuckers, and y'all going to love me anyway. That's all.
I mean, if you look at the first Trump Tower, Now I thought, no, this is out. And I watched the Netflix documentary. It's very well documented. On the first Trump Tower, he spent so much money on that building in New York and the apartments that were inside were so goddamn cheap.
Okay, so
We
all right,
talk
I'll give you
about
this. I'll
porcelain
give you this.
floors, but you gotta, but the price to get that back then, almost $100,000.
I'll go. You know what? I'll give you this. Let's say he's a failed businessman. Okay, let's say he's a failed businessman. What has Kamala Harris done that makes you think that she could even run this country any better?
Clean up the streets.
You know what? I'm glad.
Throwing niggas in
Didn't I
jail.
just talk about this a couple weeks ago? Hold on a second. I just talked about this a couple weeks ago, and John, I don't know if you're gonna agree with me on this or not. I said this probably about a month ago, talking about having Kamala Harris as president. Or what? This is Biden is 46. Biden's 46, right? 46? 46.
Yeah, 46.
We've had 46 men as president.
Okay.
Most of them have fucked up at some point in time, right? They have. We know how guys get. Blah blah blah.
So you're going to say, let's try a woman?
No, I'm saying
I don't like
she
that
deserves
either.
a chance.
I don't like that either.
I'm saying, and like I said, you don't have to agree with me.
She definitely deserves a chance. I agree that she deserves a chance. You know,
I've already seen what Donald Trump can do.
That I agree with. I
want just like when Hillary became I wanted Hillary to become president. If I could have voted at that time, I was 15, I couldn't. But if I could, I would. But she deserves a shot because I've seen 46 men run this country. Well, I haven't seen all of them, but we've had 46 men run this country.
Narrow it down even more. John asks, what about Kamala makes you think we had with Trump? All we had was Trump, the playboy, Trump, the rich man, Trump, the failed businessman. That's all we had. And we decided, I was one of those people. I didn't vote at the time because I didn't like either choice. But I said to people, you know what? Let's give the man a chance. I was genuinely excited I wanted the motherfucker to prove everybody wrong. Prove them wrong. Show them that you can actually make America great. Not again, because America at no point was ever, depending on who you ask, America wasn't great ever. So whatever. I didn't like that slogan, but I said, okay, let's give it a chance. We gave him a chance. What happened to that border wall that Mexico was going to pay for? Never happened. Matter of fact,
$5 billion. They wanted $5 billion. They wouldn't give him $5 billion.
Yeah,
Look at the money.
I mean, I don't know why.
What the money they spent in this past 3 years bringing all those.
I don't understand what. Oh my God, y'all watch too much damn TV. I need to stop watching TV and actually do.
I'm not watching TV. I'm looking at the reports. The reports that came from the Biden administration.
Oh, we're also going to believe that there's a bunch of people eating cats and dogs and shit in Springfield. People are eating cats and dogs.
Oh, okay, let's talk about the cats and dogs.
Are people eating them?
About the cats and dogs.
The Haitians?
You don't think the Haitians are over there eating cats and dogs?
I don't believe Haitians live in Ohio in general.
No. There's Haitians that live in.
I'm kidding.
Haitians are coming to America where food is abundant. We're gonna eat cats and dogs. Come on, stop.
I don't even have a problem. Listen, I don't even have a problem with them eating cats and dogs. They can eat all the cats and dogs they want. I just don't want them stealing people's pets.
No. I don't buy that for a moment. And to my point, what I was trying to make, right? We allowed Donald Trump because what had Obama proven? Obama was great at talking. That's really why he became president. He didn't have any extraordinary feats that he had any extraordinary accomplishments. He had some, right? But he wasn't this extraordinary. He was great. Obama can talk really, really well.
I did the same thing you did with Obama.
Brother could dress his ass off too.
Yeah. Right. And then the other thing is, yeah, he might be married to a transsexual woman, but we don't know.
What we're not going to do. What we're not going to do. What we're not going to do.
Dante loves Michelle, so you're not going to do.
What we not going to do is disrespect Michelle Obama.
That's what we're not going to do. That's what we're not going to do.
Look what you did, John.
We're not doing that. But no, but see. So let me ask you another question. Do you think the fact that Melania has come out publicly and said that she stands for women's rights, do you think this will hurt the Donald Trump campaign?
No.
Not at all.
I don't think that anybody gives a shit what the first lady says, nor should they.
I mean, she's not just any first lady. She's probably the baddest next to what's her name? Nancy Reagan. She's probably the baddest first lady ever.
She's one of the smartest. Nobody will give her credit for it. She speaks, I forget how many languages.
I mean, you matter. Actually, no, he's rich, so I'll give her that much. She's kind of smart. What she should have did is kept this motherfucker out of politics is what she should have done. Listen, I was for Drain the Swamp.
I agree with you there.
I was for Drain the Swamp. I got behind it. I wasn't MAGA, but I was like, all right, man, he's gonna clean this shit up. And I came back to the US. I had spent all these years from afar watching it, and I came back to the US, and it was an absolute shit show. It was an absolute shit show. 2020, I went back to December 2020, December 13th, 2020. I went back to the US. It was an absolute shit show. There's no one who can deny that. No one can change that narrative. It was what it was. And you people are going to sit here. We want 4 more years of what? 4 more years of shit show is what you want. 4 more years of shit show.
I will say this, though, because
it wasn't a shit show until COVID.
And he mishandled it. That what better time to evaluate someone than during a crisis? Let's be real.
Do you think that
he's commander in chief?
Handled it anyhow?
What handle what? What was there to handle? Biden, to be quite honest with you, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I think if you would have switched the roles, Biden would have done a better job, because Biden would have sat up there and said, you know what? It's a hoax. It's a hoax. The China virus is a hoax. All that showmanship did absolutely nothing. This isn't.
I think in the beginning he didn't. I think in the beginning they thought they had a handle on it, but by the time they thought that it just came over the first time, there was already so much COVID in Louisiana because there was people they didn't know what it was. COVID was in this country back in November before the first case came over in March. It was already here. So I mean, you can go by that, but here my point is right now that she can't even go and answer questions. She won't do interviews. She won't put up policies. She won't do any of that.
What policies has she not spoken on?
Well, she finally put up Biden's policies on her website, and she didn't do an interview for over 40 days when she was basically, no one has even voted for her, and now she's the president. She's the candidate. Whatever.
Well, would you have rather her showed up? Would you have rather her showed up unprepared like your guy and give interviews? Would you have preferred that?
I would prefer to find out what her positions are. She's been in politics for how long? She's been in the administration for 3.5 years. Yeah.
You don't want the person that's going to lead what we call the greatest country in the world. You don't want them to be prepared. Like your guy showed up unprepared. Your guy didn't have a plan. Your guy came up there. They asked him a question, and he'd go on and on and on about something else unrelated to the question that he was asked.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets. Yeah, I get that.
No, but I'm saying this is the person. This is the person you want to vote for. The person, he's unprepared. Yeah. This is the guy. He's Nick Sirianni. You want to vote for Nick Sirianni?
Yeah,
that's what you want to vote for.
If the other coach is the coach of the what's a horrible team? If the other coach is a coach of a worse team, yes, I want to vote for the best of the two. No. I find Donald Trump the best of the two. No. I do. She can't answer a question. Everything's a word salad.
Okay, so hold on. So what you want is,
years ago I was a middle class student.
What you're telling me what you want is you want the person
answers. I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Can't handle it.
You definitely cannot. What you want is what it sounds like to me, John. Okay, what you're telling me that you want. You don't care what the answer is. You just want an answer.
I care about the answer. Listen,
okay, but you can't tell me you care about the answer and listen to the dribble that comes out of John Trump's mouth and tell me that's my leader.
I've watched what they did to this country with immigration. I've watched what they've done with this country due to inflation. I've watched Biden's failed policies as far as foreign policies, where Russia came across. He's in Ukraine now. They're fighting a war. Israel's fighting a war with Hamas and Hezbollah, and now in the Houthis,
possibly
and
Iran.
And you think Donald Trump is going to come in and do what exactly?
I think. Let's put it this way: we didn't have any wars there. We almost had one. In the Red Sea, they shot a tanker and set it ablaze, and we had planes in the air, and all Iran seen was nothing but blips, and planes were in the air, and we were going to attack Iran. And Trump said, turn them around. They turned the planes around, and he said, next time, I'm not bringing them back. He doesn't want to go to war. He wants to stop wars.
No one wants to go to war. I'm tired of war.
He wants to stop the war in Russia. and he wants to stop the war in Israel. The way to stop the war in Israel is to just turn Israel loose and let them go mop up all those people that are shooting rockets across into Israel. That's the one way to do it. And the thing
but that would be a genocide, though.
See, Johnny boy, my guy, listen.
That Americans coming out, genocide, baby.
No. See, listen.
Hey, you shoot shit across the border. I'm coming after you.
John, no. See, so we're going to forget about everything Israel did. That's like this. That's like saying this, right? There's a guy that comes to your school and bullies you. And then one day you said, you know what? I've had enough of this shit. I'm breaking this motherfucker's face. And you destroy him so bad that you send him to the hospital. You think it's then okay for them to come and suspend you and ignore everything that he did to you?
Well, when you first started explaining that,
answer me.
Hang on. I am answering you. When you first started explaining that to me, that was what the Arabs were doing to Israel. All right.
What books have you been reading? What are you talking about?
This is the same thing as Adam Nutter, John. This is the same thing when we were on.
I know.
Summer show.
What are you talking about?
As soon as they made Israel a state
in 1940, what was it, 1946?
47. Okay. Yeah, the Arab nations attacked them.
That is not true. They didn't come in. First of all, the Palestinians welcomed them motherfuckers with open arms there, right? You can't. That's like me letting you into my house and saying, "Hey, you can stay. This is your space, but don't come in my kitchen to just grab whatever you want, right?" And you come in my kitchen and you take whatever it is you want. Me and you going to have a talking to. But then as I'm talking to you, you're just going to shoot me in my face.
The Palestinians have been kicked out of every Arab country. They've been kicked out of
every map before 1946. They had their own country. Everywhere on every map before 1946, you look at the Palestine. They're all there. They didn't need to be kicked out of anywhere. They had their own country. Jews were the one that had their own country. Jews are not from that land. Jew is a religion. You have Jews in fucking Hungary. You have Jews in fucking Argentina. You have Jews in fucking Japan. Tell me how they're all related.
Jews are like razzles. You know, they're
like cockroaches. They multiply like roaches is what they are. Nah, man. I have no problem with the Jewish community, but seriously, what we're not going to do is sit there and make Israel out to be some goddamn victim, okay? They went in there. They tried to play big bully. The Palestinian people got sick and tired of it. Everyone gets sick and tired of being bullied. Everyone. And then they decided to defend themselves. And now everyone's to be like, yes.
Guys, you know who the real victim here is?
Me.
Your listeners?
Pete Rose. Pete Rose is the real victim in this whole situation. He died without getting into the Hall of Fame.
That dumb motherfucker bet on baseball. The one thing you can't do.
I'm glad you said that.
Okay. Fucking thing you can't do. You can't bet on baseball.
Okay, but John.
He's the Lenny Dykstra of the 70s.
John, hold on a second.
Great player.
You know about baseball. I can't talk to Matt about this. He's retarded when it comes to baseball.
Oh, come on. We're still on that.
You didn't know. Wait,
you didn't know who Ken Griffey Jr. was.
How do you not know who Ken Griffey Jr. is? Whose father is Ken Griffey.
Okay.
They played together. They went back-to-back home runs. How do you not know this shit?
How do you not know that? Like, that's insane.
I don't fucking remember any of this.
Take the chain off, bro. You know what? Matter of fact, I should fly out there and run your pockets, bro. Because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, my man.
That would only prove John's point in crime.
Yeah. I'll be one of them niggas to prove the point. I should run your pockets, bro. Fucking crazy.
I'm glad, John, you said that about Pete Rose, because now I'm not a baseball guy, but I do know the history of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, should Pete Rose have been punished for betting on baseball?
Absolutely.
100% yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the Hall of Fame is about the player and what they did during their playing and or managing career. Now, if we look at what Pete Rose did during his career, he is the greatest hitter of all time in terms of his statistics, with the most hits in baseball. Well, MLB history. We really want to say the greatest hitter of all time, probably Ichiro, but we won't get into that situation. Now, he is being judged and crucified for what he did outside of his playing career and was not allowed in the Hall of Fame. But if you look at,
he was the manager of the Reds. He was the manager of the Reds.
No, what I'm saying is he was going to get in the Hall of Fame because of his playing career, not because he was a manager. We all know that. Let's be honest here.
But he was in the game of he was in the game of baseball, betting on baseball.
I understand
you can't have that. You can't break the integrity of the game like that.
But can I have a question? Can I ask a real question?
I'll talk about the integrity of the game all the time, but what about integrity as people? If you want to talk about the integrity of the game, is Shoeless Joe Jackson in the Hall of Fame? Yes or no?
I don't know.
Yes, Shoeless Joe Jackson is in the Hall of Fame. What did Shoeless Joe Jackson do while he was playing baseball? What did he do?
Either bet or through the game. I can't remember which.
Both. It was both. He made a bet with a very prominent mafia leader at the time in order for his team to lose the World Series.
Right.
He's in the Hall of Fame. Babe Ruth, a well-known racist and womanizer, but known as one of the greatest baseball players of all time, in the Hall of Fame.
He didn't bet on baseball.
Ty Cobb is a well-known racist motherfucker, not only towards black people, but he didn't even like a lot of white people either. His character did not rise to the occasion of who he was as a baseball player, but he's still in the Hall of Fame. But for some reason, because Pete Rose bet on baseball, yes, as a manager, whether it was his team to win or blah, 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 he paid his dues. But we have to wait for this man to pass away to give him the right to go in the Hall of Fame. You think that's right?
I do.
So
I really do.
Do you think Barry Bonds and Alex Rodriguez deserve to die before they go into the Hall of Fame?
That's steroids. I don't know about that.
I have a question. I just have one question. Sure. Does character issues factor in to getting into the Hall? Because if it's not written within the bylaws, and that's something I was asking Matt to look up. If it's not written into the bylaws, it should not be considered. What if it's only what you do on the field is what matters?
Okay, I have something.
Okay.
Voting. One of the things that it says here is voting shall be based upon the player's record, playing ability, integrity, sportsmanship, character, and contributions to the teams on which they played.
So one could look at integrity, depending on how you define that. One could look at
also.
Go ahead.
But keep in mind, this is also a different time. I mean, who knows how many times these bylaws have been written and rewritten, not only that, so on and so forth.
Pete Rose was a pedophile. He had a 16-year-old girl traveling across state lines with him.
Hell, the 70s, you know.
We're not going to do that.
Jesus, we're not doing that.
Monte's speaking for himself. He got the no Diddy on too. Look, Diddy, no Diddy. He would
FBI open up.
That did not stop him from being in the Hall of Fame. The gambling started to stop him from being in the Hall of Fame.
I just find it so funny that gambling is an issue for him getting in the Hall of Fame, yet the MLB promotes gambling more than most other sports organizations.
I don't agree with that either. All right, so I have a question for you two.
For who?
I'm going to make a statement. For black people.
Okay.
Hold on, where's my thing?
Black people.
I have a vote. I have a thing for you, okay? Hey, listen, I didn't hit this one time. So don't tell me.
Damn right.
This is where I need the jail button. Jail.
Okay. Jail.
All right. So first of all,
that's funny.
I'm going to make a statement. Tell me if this is true or false. Okay. I'm going to say Caitlin Clark is the Jackie Robinson of the WNBA. True or false?
False.
Really?
False.
Okay.
I would say she's the Magic Johnson. Larry
Wait. I'm just real quick, and I'm asking you this because I know not everybody does. Are you an avid fan or watcher of the WNBA?
I've never watched a game until she started playing.
Okay, now that's my point exactly. All right, now let me give you my synopsis on that. I know a lot of people like to say Caitlin Clark is the greatest women's basketball player of all time, the most exciting, blah, 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 blah.
That's not true.
That 100% is not true. And the reason why it's not true is because you have to understand how Caitlin Clark got to her stardom in the first place. Caitlin Clark was a graduate of the 2020 high school class. That 2020 high school class, absolutely nobody was talking about Caitlin Clark because she played played in the state of Iowa and went to Iowa. The reason why we even started about talking about Caitlin Clark in the first place was because Paige Beckers got hurt at the end of her freshman year, and we needed somebody else to draw the attention to. Paige Beckers was going to be in the position that Caitlin Clark is in right now. If Paige never got hurt, she is the star in the WNBA. Now we have to wait until next year. Now, Caitlin Clark is a tremendous talent, but to say she is the Jackie Robinson of the WNBA is insane, because there are so many great players that came before her that are Hall of Famers and honestly are better players than her. Now, what Mike said is very true. Yeah. Caitlin Clark is the Magic Johnson / Larry Bird of the WNBA. And the reason why is because the way that marketing is done now, the way social media is now, and with NIL, with her play style and how the 3-point game is so exciting these days. She plays like Steph Curry. Let's be honest. She has a Steph Curry-esque game. And that's exciting to a lot of people now. Dunks and alley-oops and everything really isn't what gets the crowds going. Steph Curry changed the game so much that the way Caitlin Clark plays is extremely popular. So it makes people want to tune into the WNBA more than they ever have before.
I do want to give just a tad bit of pushback there, because listen, I started watching the game more last year when you started talking about it a whole lot. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I never found any interest, even when Candace Parker was playing. You go back to when Lisa Leslie was playing. I never found so much interest in the game, right? But then
I like that you say that, because I think a lot of guys have that mentality, because the game, women's basketball is, and remember, I've said this before, women's basketball is the purest form of basketball there is. Even though the WNBA is still meant for entertainment, it's a below the rim game, which is what basketball is. NBA basketball.
If you're unathletic,
white people, you blacks can't come over there and start dunking.
That's not a real racist. You blacks,
you blacks came in.
You goddamn pills.
God damn it!
But no, here's like, so my thing is, I sometimes I feel like when giving other players that came before Caitlin their flowers, it often comes off as though we're diminishing the fact of how great she's not good. She's great. She's out there breaking record after record, or was breaking because their season's done. Record after record after record. You can't. Good players aren't out there breaking records. Good players come off the bench, get 15, 20 minutes a game, sit back down. She's not just a good player, bro. So first of all, call it what it is, because you know what? The thing I don't like is that I see a lot of black people siding with black women, even more so, siding with Angel Reese simply because she's a black woman. And I'm all in support of supporting our people. However, you cannot sit there. I'm going to support my person, but I want to drag this white girl.
You know what? The thing is, and that actually has gone both ways. I agree with what you said. I think there are a lot of black people that try to drag Caitlin, but that's a media thing. They've put them against each other.
No. I'm not talking about media doing this. I'm talking about actual conversation. I can't speak on the media what the media does. I can't speak on what the media does, of course, but I'm talking about me engaging in conversation. Some people would think I hate black women the way I've been going at them, and I just have a problem. Look, I call a spade. We can't, on one side, we don't need to put people down to uplift ourselves. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do that shit. Is Angel Reese good? I think she's a good Dennis Rodman. That's why I look at her. Like, being real. I've watched enough games I find her skill set now. She's a rookie. She can evolve, but her skill set now is extremely limited. Whereas the object of the game is to score. Of course, you need rebounding. You need that shit. It's very important to winning a game. However, Caitlin out there scoring from everywhere. Caitlin out there breaking assist records. Right? She's not just scoring, but she's also putting her team in positions to win as a rookie, as one of the most. Let's be real, bro. They hated this girl, man. They hated her.
I wouldn't say she puts her team in a position to win, and I always say this about it, until she wins a championship, Caitlin Clark is not a winner in my eyes. No, she went to 2 national championships in a row in college, and she lost both. She had an amazing rookie season. Do not
Right.
get me wrong. Caitlin
Again,
Clark will
so-
hopefully.
Did she deserve Rookie of the Year in your book?
Yes, she deserved it. Yes,
Okay.
yes, she did. Yes, she did. I'm not saying Angel Reese did. I'm an Angel Reese fan because I like the way she plays the game. But as I've said before, I'm a very, very, very avid fan of the WNBA, and I know the stars that that were around beforehand that I do think are better players than Caitlin Clark. But not to get into the race thing, what you got to understand what Caitlin Clark is. Caitlin Clark is a straight white woman who's good at basketball. And this is not the first time and this is a problem within the WNBA. The WNBA loves to play the gender game. They always have. Give you a prime example. When Sue Bird first came into the league in 2003, they tried to make her this pretty straight white girl. They had her dressing up in dresses and all other kind of stuff. And then a couple years later, we find out she's gay, right? Skylar Diggins Smith came into the league.
Oh my God.
Fine as fuck.
She's so fine. She was my crush when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
She came into the league and she was the pretty straight black girl. So they tried to make her the face of the league. Shit ain't work because she didn't want it.
Yep.
And then other athletes in the WNBA started hating on it because it was like, yo, why y'all making this bitch the head of the league? We got all these gay players in the league, but y'all don't want to represent us. Y'all just want to make it seem like we're a league full of straight women who let us suck dick. And that's
shit about
see,
any.
Let's not also pretend that Brittany Garner wasn't
who
the
Griner
face of the WNBA. Yeah, Griner.
When the fuck was she never the
No.
face of the WNBA?
But they were trying to make her that for the wrong reason.
No.
they
They
were
were
not.
trying to. They used her as a
Why do you think anybody
political.
else watched it?
No,
never tried to-
they weren't watching it because of her. Because
When
Brittany
Brittany
Griner was the
came into
same
league,
player.
Maya Moore was the face of the league, and Candace Parker was the face of the league.
She
at that
was
time.
the
Both
same player that she was at Baylor. That she Brittany. Let me tell you, Brittany Griner ain't even that nice. I'm gonna just say
I
it.
agree. I've never been a Brittany Griner fan.
No,
She was.
she's a fucking big, tall. She's tall.
She's 7 feet tall.
That's it. She tall.
I've seen other
She's,
7-footers that were better than her. I know you know who Lauren Jackson is. Lauren Jackson is probably the greatest Australian basketball player ever, men or women. She's almost 7 feet tall, more mobile.
Kyrie's Australian, bro.
Brittany Griner is the Nkembe. What's his name? Nkembe.
Don't do that. Don't do that. We're not. I'm not taking. I'm
We're not
taking
disrespecting
zero.
Mutombo like that.
No. Zero Dikembe Mutombo slander. Zero.
No.
Zero.
Hey, he played on the Sixers. I was a fan.
No, sir. No. We're not taking that. No. Mutombo slander. Zero.
But even okay, so I know a lot of people have gotten upset because Cheryl Swoops made a lot of comments about Caitlin Clark. Let me dive into it. She made it too personal. She was making good points, but she made it so personal that it turned people off, and then people try to discredit her. And the fact that people try to discredit Cheryl Swoops is that they forgot or that they were ignorant of the fact that she's the Michael Jordan of women's basketball.
Ooh.
That's literally her nickname.
Ooh.
That's literally her nickname. She
Cheryl
was
Swoops
female Jordan. Cheryl Swoops was female Jordan.
Didn't she come out of Temple?
No, she went to was it Texas A&M? No.
Okay, I'm thinking of somebody else then.
No, Cheryl Swoops was the female Jordan when she got into the league. She was the first player drafted into the WNBA.
Cheryl Swoops went to Texas Tech.
She was Texas Tech. There we go. She was the first women's basketball player to sign a shoe deal, and she signed with Jordan. She was that girl. She's a 4-time MVP, 4-time WNBA champion. She's one of the greatest female players of all time.
Jordan gives his flowers where he needs to give his flowers.
I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying that is who she was. That is her nickname. That is who she was. That is how she should
recognize game then.
I agree. Like I said, what she said was that she made it personal.
Because the way she was going on social media and talking about Caitlyn, I'm like, oh no. And you had to be black doing it too. That's the shit that made it worse for me.
Can we be honest though?
Goddamn niggers.
Can we understand the bitterness from a bunch of people? Here's why I say it.
No.
Wait,
you know why I don't understand it? You know why? Because people see. And this is why people are so reluctant to vote Kamala. This is why people don't think women should be in positions of power, because they get all up in their goddamn feelings. Okay. Instead of taking the time to see the bigger picture, right? Instead of taking the time,
dumb,
right?
Okay.
Instead of taking the time, we're going to ignore that. We're going to disregard that comment. Instead of taking the time to see the bigger picture, they're thinking, why isn't this person the face of it? It's understanding that the NBA is a business. Okay.
Right.
We are too far along in social media and where we're at as a society to not understand that this is a business. And right now, this little white girl that likes to jack up threes from 6 feet behind the WNBA 3-point line is
from the
good.
Logo.
Yeah, she's literally jacking it up from 6 feet behind the fucking 3-point line. Literally.
The reason I say she was like Jackie Robinson is because she's getting a lot of heat. She's getting a lot of hard fouls, and she's doing all the right things. She's swallowing it up. She's not saying that she's not going back.
She's not the first.
There for Jackie
she's not the
Robinson,
first.
so.
See, Jackie was the first, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true. But I just think about the way that she has to sit there and say all the right things and maybe not say the way she feels.
Well, hold on a second. You made a point. You made a point, and you said that she gets fouled hard and everything. Blah.
Everybody
blah,
gets
blah.
fouled hard.
Everybody gets fouled hard,
Everybody
and
does.
I don't care whether it's the NBA or the WNBA. If you are the it rookie, they gun it for your ass.
Of course.
Oh, I
I
know.
think people forget.
That's in every league.
I think people forget Lonzo Ball's first game in the NBA.
Mhm.
Patrick Beverly gave that nigga hell.
Yes.
Hell. And he was one of the best defenders in the league at that
It's like
time.
a rite of passage.
Janae Carrington was all over her ass when they played during this. And that's what they're supposed to do.
Yes.
What I don't like is the narrative that people were saying, oh, they just got to let Caitlin play. They should let Caitlin score 40, 50 points a game. That's not good for the integrity of the game.
No.
That's what Jordan used to do before he got Pippen and Rod.
Well, Jordan didn't know how to play by himself. I mean, he didn't know how to win.
Once they take away him, and that's why she's never won a national championship, because when she got the national championship, they took her out of the game, and the rest of the team was shit.
Yep.
That's why she never won a championship.
Yep.
I will say this though, because I see a lot of comparisons to our earlier conversation in this Caitlin Clark one, where it's like we mentioned how sometimes the Black community doesn't uplift itself. I see a lot of that with women, especially when it comes to the Caitlin Clark talking to WNBA. They do a better job tearing each other down than anybody. Women in general.
Nothing more
I've been
petty.
to 3 WNBA games. I've seen more men at those games.
Yes.
I say this. I went to go see the Aces play the Mercury 2018. This was Asia's rookie year. I was in Vegas. A whole lot of dudes up in there and young fans. But that is what the WNBA is trying to do now, which I think they're doing a better job of. You have to attract the younger fans because they are the future. The reason why the NBA is doing so well, right now is because 10 years ago when Steph Curry was doing his thing, they started hitting with the youth. And then now those guys are 15, 16 years old and they're big fans of the NBA, and that's how the fandom grows. The WNBA has to get into the younger demographic. They have to stop pandering to women so much. They have to stop pandering for this gay, transgender, all this other kind of shit. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not a fan of teammates being married to each other. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think it makes any sense. I think it can cause problems, but that's just what they do.
Could you imagine two guys in the NBA being married to each other?
Weird.
Yeah, he was supposed to suck my dick and he didn't. So now I'm mad at that motherfucker.
I ain't passing this motherfucker the ball.
I ain't passing the ball. He put it too deep last night. Now my butthole hurt.
I can't play tonight because I can't breathe because
I got a hernia because of this motherfucker. You was shitting and putting it in my butt.
Imagine being like, yo, I'm sorry, I can't get this defensive stance today. I can't get that low.
No, my husband was giving me 12 inches last night. I can't get down low, coach.
Hi,
my stance might be a little bit wider.
I got a bruised kidney.
You think Dwight Howard might have fucked me?
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
Pause.
Again, I think
he was in Atlanta for a year. That's all I'm saying. He was in Atlanta.
You know what? I'm not dealing with. I'm not fucking with you, dude. You
I didn't get down to Atlanta, Mike.
Hey, hold on a minute. Y'all realize we've been on this bitch for over 2 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I enjoyed it.
No, it's okay. See, I gotta let the people know. See, I can't listen. I came on just for you. Came to talk to you because I need to understand. I still don't understand. You didn't do a good job of explaining yourself.
In closing,
you're just not listening.
I
but
listen.
okay.
In closing,
I got ADHD. I can't help but listen.
First of all, this is the way I feel. You guys have the right to pick the candidate you want. I'll support your right to pick the candidate you want. I might not agree with what you're going to say, but you know what? This is America, and you have the right to your opinions, and I'll fight for your right to have those opinions.
If more people,
this is how it used to be back in the 80s. This is how it was in the 80s. There was no cancel shit.
Sit down,
yeah, I
have
agree with that.
Conversations like these, right? More people
used to be able to call people a faggot
and have different opinions on different things. You try to get more things done.
Retards.
Still do. There's only one word they took away from me. But
oh, come on! Oh, for Christ's sake! At least he admits it.
I watched football in the 70s with my uncles and shit. If you don't think that word was thrown around like
and look at those niggers go, that's a good nigga right there. That nigga can run. That nigga can catch. That's a good nigga. That's a good, wholesome Texas fed nigga.
My God, is that a nigger at quarterback? Get him off the field. You know,
we would watch the Philadelphia Eagles, and Wilbert Montgomery would go for a long run, and my father would yell "police" because nobody watches a black man run faster when someone yells "police."
In closing, I'm glad we all had this conversation.
Now, my
today.
father worked in Kensington back in the day, and there was a lot of racial tension back in the day. So, you know, he bought a black German Shepherd that was named Satan, and he used to keep it in the shop in case somebody would come in and try to rob him.
Get that nigger,
Look,
Satan.
I'm not saying that, you know, I've said this before. I said, look, the black man stole the word from us. Now we're not allowed to use it, and they use it in front of us. Kind of like when they steal your bike and ride it around in front of you.
Damn.
I kid. And the one time that someone said something to me that made the most sense was, he said, I don't like that word used because it was some person was the last word they heard before they were lynched. And that really hit my soul. So I don't use it. I play with it. You know, I dance around the edges because it's taboo, and that's what I do.
But I disagree.
GAR, it's the nigga family.
I always say you can't, you know, as a white person, I can't put the GG between the I and the E. You're not allowed to do that. I got in trouble one time with Delvin Cox because my son was listening to music, and for about 45 minutes, I never heard that word so mentioned in my entire life because he was listening to urban or hip hop or whatever. So I said, my God, I said, I've never heard the word, and I spelled it out in my own Discord. I said, I never heard that word used that much except in that music. Now, I didn't know I couldn't put the GG between the I and the E because I was talking about the word that they use in the music. And I got all kinds of shit, and I still haven't talked to Delvin Cox over this.
Yeah, Delvin and him don't talk anymore.
So
that's because
here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? Let's talk about this before we sign off. Because I do feel some kind of way about this. I believe that context matters, right? I don't believe that we can, listen, some of my white friends that I grew up with back home call me nigga. They also understand, hey, if we ain't around our close friends, you know, you can't be dropping that shit, you know. My best friend, Brian, I talked to him, I called him up, hey, what's up, nigga? You know, that's how we talk. That's my guy. I've known him since I was a boy. You know what I'm saying?
He's got a path.
He does. Funny? But the thing is, we should be able, like, if we're talking about certain instances, like, but I'm not talking about racist instances. I'm talking about conversation, intellectual conversations. There has to be an understanding that if we're talking about like historical facts, whatever the fuck, there has to be an understanding that you got to say
context and tone are extremely important.
Yeah, like I'm not saying John didn't come up here and call us, hey, listen here, you two dirty niggas, I disagree with y'all. He didn't say that. You know what I'm saying? He said, listen, niggas, I'm part of y'all. I just disagree with y'all. I could take that. Now, you might not want to say it on the pod. You might want to say it offline. But
I wouldn't even say it then. You're not dragging me into that thing. So I had Delvin say this to me.
Why y'all scared? Say it. It's just a word. What was that dude? You seen that show?
Out of your mind.
Say it.
Saying that on a microphone.
I don't think. Yeah, us white people, we can't do that on a public platform.
See, let me tell you something. The way I feel, God, it's a good thing God made me black because I would say it. I'd walk on the show and be like, listen here, Dante. Let me tell you something, brother. I want to talk about these niggas.
You wouldn't say that. No,
I
you wouldn't. You
would.
wouldn't say that because you get your ass beat.
First of all, these hands are bisexual. They for everybody. I don't give a fuck.
Rated E.
Yeah.
Rated E for everyone.
I do not care. I do not
What
care.
about transgenders? Would you hit a transgender in the face?
I would listen. I would kick her right in the face. Kick him, her,
I
right in the face.
Transgender so hard they go back to their original form.
Because you know what? They may be a woman now. They may be a woman now, but their bones are still dense like a man. So I'm gonna crack one. Hell yeah, I would crack one. In high school, I beat up a gay dude for hitting my sister. I don't give a fuck. He was feminine as hell, and I beat his ass for hitting my sister. I do not care.
Still a man.
I won't hit an actual woman, but I've said this on the pod before. You can quote me if you want to. I won't hit a woman, but if you hit me, I will throw you. I promise you.
Right.
I will say this: like we joke about it all the time on the show. Like, remember the one time you called me the N-word, and I was like, "Hey, thanks,
Matt, nigga."
And
you said, "Yeah."
Well, thanks for accepting me.
Yeah.
But then even this
we gotta take your card back, bro. We gotta take that back. You done lost that card, bro.
Oh yeah, a long time ago.
I know I lost. So I don't give a shit.
Long time.
But I will say, like, even this week, I was like, can someone take my my you know what card? I'm like, I'll take it.
I've never seen.
We can make
I've
those
never
types
seen
of
a man whiter than Matt. He is the whitest white guy I've ever seen in my entire life. He's got the soul of a piece of white bread.
Yeah, he is
saltine.
It's
not that bad,
bro. You are saltine. Yes,
I got a little soul in me.
No, soul. What soul you talking
about? Mike, you should see the way this dude dresses when we go out to a bar.
I've been
the last time I was with him.
I don't have any other clothes.
Dude, he wore a Hawaiian shirt to the bars like a month ago. I was like, bro, what are you doing?
Hey,
we don't get no bitches in this.
Just come out of the closet.
Hey, man, ain't no bullshit. No bullshit. Fashion Nova can help you, bro. Fashion Nova can help you.
Fashion Nova really could change
inexpensive.
Your life.
It's inexpensive, and they tend to lead towards the trends. So Fashion Nova,
bro, you
can
get
help
you can get like 2 or 3 outfits for like $100.
Fashion Nova.
That's Fashion Nova.
I'll look into it. I will say, I normally I would be insulted, but I will take it under advisement.
Hey, those boys down in South Carolina will straighten his ass out.
Don't be.
Matt gonna move back to Jersey. He gonna talk about mudding and drinking Budweiser.
No,
just like
never.
that. I'm telling you, you better go mudding. I told you last time, go mudding.
Well, man. I mean, I'll try it.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Nah, mudding is fun as fuck.
Sure is.
Hell yeah, drinking some Budweiser, but just don't drink Paps and do it. That shit nasty, bro.
I agree with that too. See, look at us.
Hey, I'm just glad you didn't get a stroke on this motherfucker, man, because you get so much times, you know what I'm saying?
I'm fine.
Get too close. I don't want your family coming after me. Shit.
Here's the thing. I'm actually more or less pleased with how this came out. I expected this to go a lot worse. I'm going to be straight up honest with you.
With me on the show?
No, not with you. Not with John on the show. Because I've seen John get angry. I've seen John get angry.
But there was nothing for him to get angry at because I'm a very reasonable person. I believe I have my views, and I'm very open for conversation.
Yes, but you don't know John Jamingo. I do. This man rage quit off his own podcast like what, 3 times? Maybe more? Once? I don't believe that one bit. I'm sure he quit a lot more times than he wants to.
By the time those guys got off the air, I completely erased the podcast from the face of the earth.
You petty motherfucker.
I was. It was terrible. But know, podcasting is everything that happens to me happens for a reason, and it's a teaching moment. I realize that I can't let these people get under my skin.
Yeah.
And that I was an asshole for letting them get under my skin. It's taught me how to be a better person. I can still turn it up if I have to. A lot of times I turn it up because it's entertaining, and I don't mean a lot of it, but I can still turn it up. Guys, I really appreciate it. I really had a chance to know you before this, and I thought, to be honest with you, Dante, I thought I was fighting with Panama Red when you were in the chat. I was like, who the fuck is this? I didn't even know you were in this podcast. So then I went back and watched it again, and I said, should I come on and say, well, I can't tell because you guys all look alike? I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll do that later. But
I'm gonna have a fucking.
But I appreciate it, and there's nothing wrong with going in there and fighting and.
No, I'm not saying
comments.
I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. I just expect it to be the entire show. That was
get him on next time. We can talk about guns. Get him on next time. We'll talk about guns.
I was trying to segue into fucking guns, but we'll do it another time.
All right, about guns. We talk about Nerf guns.
No, we can talk about guns. Chitty chitty bang bang. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I gotta go with a few.
Hey, Matt, take us to church, bro.
Hey,
Dude,
man, well,
I haven't peed in 2.5 hours. My back teeth are floating. I'm an old man.
this man's gonna have fucking kidney failure at his age at doing that.
Shit,
But,
don't do.
we appreciate that you guys listened this far into the episode. You can follow us on your favorite podcast platforms like Apple, Spotify, iHeart, whole 9 yards. You can also text the show and give us your thoughts on what you heard today. We greatly would appreciate it, and I'll read that feedback in a future episode. Twitter, at Bromigos Pod. Instagram, The Bromigos Pod. Same thing with Facebook. TikTok, where we make a lot of people upset. The Bromigos Podcast. YouTube still has some work to do, but we appreciate if you go subscribe for the audio version, also known as the Bromigos Podcast. Shout out to my buddy Cole at Full Swap Radio for syndicating episodes of our show every Sunday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's all I have, gentlemen.
All right. Can I give a plug for my podcast? The
Yes, you
Boomer
may,
Bunker?
John.
Of course you can.
We
Shout
live
out Kate,
stream-
by the way.
Yeah, my Duchess, the Duchess of New Jersey. We live stream every Wednesday night at 7:00. You can catch us on X, YouTube, Twitch, and if not, listen to us as a podcast when I clean it all up. And gentlemen, thank you for letting me on. I've had a great time.
Of course,
I will say, though,
pleasure.
I will say, shout out Kate. That woman has been my rock more times than I can count. So she's an absolute saint for having to put up with my ass. So
I agree.
Anybody else? Panama, anything?
Nah, I'm good. I will try to listen.
I got one thing to say. All right, there we go.
God damn it, John. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Nah, fuck.
You've been listening to the Bromigos podcast.
Fuck you, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I beat him.